Bajan! Welcoming everybody, I am Vicariously Jambi, and today we will be talking about RWBY Volume 8 with Dakota Redheart. So let me get in the call with him real quick, and we can get to yapping. RWBY Tuesdays. I'm probably gonna actually play that song whenever we finish RWBY Tuesdays. Hello. How is you, Dakota?
I'm doing good. Oh, this is definitely mute your stream.
Oh no.
I thought the stream was you talking, and then I got like actual you jump scare.
It is, in fact,
Oh,
both.
it's not mute still. God damn it!
Aha! You cannot silence me.
See, oh, you dual stream on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm trying to simulcast, and for whatever reason, I have two options to pretty much double stream on YouTube somehow for some reason. So I turned one of those off. I don't know how or why that happened, but it's a thing apparently. Which makes me wonder if it's the same on Twitch. Then hopefully not.
Like, what is it like streaming twice on the same YouTube channel?
Yeah, I don't know why it's an option because I had the multi-stream function table on
crazy.
OBS and it has two Twitch, two YouTube, and I turned off one of the YouTubes. So I'm curious if I'm streaming twice on Twitch then. Probably not, but
I don't think that's a possibility for like Twitch. YouTube, I don't know. You might be able to do multiple streams at once on Twitch.
I think so.
I mean YouTube, not Twitch.
the red Twitch.
Let's see. You get funny Yoshi music in the background.
Yoshi! Oh. I can't do that as good as I used to.
Yoshi! Bring
Alright, so let's get into yapping real quick. So basically, this is a synopsis of that's basically on the back of the Blu-ray case or DVD case for RWBY Volume 8. Our heroes' worst fears have finally been realized. Salem is here, and the timing couldn't be worse for the divided kingdom of Atlas. Fear has turned friends into enemies, while doubt threatens to splinter humanity's remaining allies. With both Salem and Ironwood attacking the odds against them, the fate of Remnant at stake. It's up to Team RWBY to make their play before it's too late. Volume 8 is the 8th season of RWBY. It premiered on November 7th, 2020. Jesus Christ, that's a very bad year to have aired this. And then it ran for 14 episodes.
That's so recent. Sometimes there's like, oh wait, this show's recent.
Oh yeah, like Volume 8 was 2020 going into 2021, and I think Volume 9 ended in 2023, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the only reason why we haven't gotten Volume 10 yet is because of the fallout with Rooster Teeth and whatnot.
Damn you, Discovery Channel.
Well, that, and well, actually, believe it or not, it's actually thanks to Discovery Warner that they actually pulled the reins of the bullshit behind the scenes for Rooster Teeth. They're like, yeah, you're doing some scummy shit, so like you need to like you need to like, you know, check yourselves before we wreck yourselves.
So like, damn, we're gonna fire you anyway, but you for no reason, but you guys really do need to be fired.
Exactly. And that's more it's kind of getting a little ahead of ourselves because when we do finish up, at least I want to say Volume 9, I want to do this, or like after Volume 9, we'll watch this long documentary videos. It's not really a documentary, but like someone did like a fan-made documentation of like the highs and lows of RWBY's tenure before they got shut down back last year, as a matter of fact. And And then they literally a year later they came back. So there's literally that meme of like, oh, I thought you died. My death was greatly exaggerated. Because one of the founding members bought back Rooster Teeth just this year, and as far as we know, from
How much did it cost them?
I'm scared to figure that out because they had to buy it back from Warner Brothers. So
Because things like this aren't cheap to buy rights. If like they were like cheap, everyone would be buying the rights to shit.
how much did Bernie Burns spend to buy back Rooster Teeth? It's probably like I'm sure.
It was like a mill.
Bernie Burns
Like
was
that's probably it's like on the cheap end. It was like $1 million. Unless like Warner Brothers really didn't value it as like, oh, this is worthless. You could just have for like 100,000. I don't know.
that would suck. Yeah, that would be. I high key be interested in one of these retrospective series for Red versus Blue. I would like for like when we yap about Rooster Teeth stuff. Like if you want Stitch, we could probably do something together in the near future, or maybe force Basil to do something with us too. But we could probably do Red versus Blue in the near future. I'm not sure because I've kind of already forced Dakota to do Garden of Sinners with me, and I was at least wanting to hope to finish off RWBY with Phoenix and Dakota as well, so I'm just not all like compiling all the things because I like the idea that I've watched most of RWBY. Phoenix watched all of RWBY, and then Dakota like is like brand new to all this, and so we're doing like
I don't know shit.
yeah, we're doing retrospectives of like of varying degrees from like expert level with Phoenix more or less to intermediate to beginner, or intermediate with me to beginner of Dakota, and then more or less gonna be pulling ourselves along at this point just to finish. Red versus Blue. I would love to do a Red versus Blue podcast for like retrospectives of like this degree. The issue is that at a certain point with Red versus Blue, a lot of the people, because of a lot of like the behind the scenes shenanigans and creative differences, causes a lot of founding members and of Rooster Teeth to leave the company, as well as a lot of voice actors just not coming back because of like personal or very sensitive reasons. A good example is it's the same reason why you don't see Glinda Goodwitch for literally up until volume 8 after till like literally just now, but but if you pay attention, she's not voicing any concerns of her own, because the reason for that is that because the voice for Glinda did a drunken tirade on Twitter basically insulting all of her co-workers at Rooster Teeth, which caused her to be let go. And the thing about that is she is also the voice of Tex in Red vs. Blue, and probably also one of the reasons why you don't see Tex after a certain point as well.
You know, it's kind of funny, slight jumping ahead, but it's kind of funny how they're like telling everyone on like everyone's TV that like about like Salem and like, yo, there's like this immortal witch, she can't be killed. Glinda Goodwitch knows about it. You could ask her, and she's just like in like a laundromat or some shit, and like the laundry guy's like, what the fuck? And she's like, oh shit, they ratted me out.
It's actually the Dust Company from, or no, the Dust Store in like the very first episode where we get introduced to RWBY. I mean, Texas stories seem through to completion. Yes, but the voice of Caboose also later leaves in later seasons, because if I remember correctly, I think it was Bernie Burns was the one who voiced Caboose, because Bernie left originally, but he came back to finish off Red vs. Blue just as they got acquired by Warner Brothers. And then, Rooster Teeth went under, and now he's bought back Rooster Teeth. It was Joel, I believe? No, now I'm just doing multiple Google searches now.
Get away
Voice
with
of-
Red versus Blue. It's like copyrighted, like models.
Joel Heyman.
Like
Okay,
Halo.
yeah, you're right. You were right. Bernie was the voice of Church. You are correct. That is a good correction on my part. Yes, so you're right. But it was Joel who left for future endeavors. So he left Red versus Blue. I do remember that because a lot of fans were actually upset that hearing the voice of Caboose leave the show. So far, I'm not seeing any financial terms of sale were not revealed. Yeah, so yeah, it's not even revealed how much Bernie bought for Rooster Teeth.
Like he's just like, is he like rich or something? Or is he just like some guy?
I mean, he's one of the founders of Rooster Teeth, so I would assume he would have like made some bank in the 21 years Rooster Teeth has been around. Buezo!
By the way, I'm gonna have to step away in like a minute to grab food. It's probably done.
Wandering Raiders, welcome in, Raiders. How swim? What were you swimming?
I'm gonna go check out my food real quick. I will be right back.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, hey, Sage. Thank you for the follow. Thank you. Welcome in, Raiders. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, was it Basil? Oh, I am so stupid. I was saying, like, all, like, the Basil emos are like, oh, it was Sage that raided me. I'm so sorry. Let me shout out Sage. But, welcome in, Sage. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for the raid. I hope you're having good, wonderful time zones. If you all need to do some after stream care, go ahead and do so. I don't blame you if you need to. After stream care is important. If you need to go grab a drink, go to the bathroom, and come back and listen to me yap, I'll appreciate that as well. The both green, it's understandable. This is okay, that's fair. Playing Overwatch 2, LMAO. Yeah, but I did right. Yeah, I saw that. What the fuck? I mean, it's understandable. The children of Nurgle. But yeah, right now, me and Dakota just finished watching RWBY Volume 8. We are streaming and to yap about it, and we are basically talking about how Burning Burns basically rebought the rights to Rooster Teeth and has been trying to revive the company since actually this year, February 5th of this year, in fact. Yeah, it was already here. Just watching Sage. Wow. Feeling who? Oh no, it's the other Dakota. Dakota fight, let's fucking go. And by Dakota, I just went to get food. Damn it. But yeah, right now, Dakota Redheart here, right next to me, asked like how much he Bernie must have bought Rooster Teeth back for. That, and it's a good question because there is no financial details revealed, but we're going to assume it's for a lot of money. Hey yo. Hey, thank you for the follow, the other Dakota.
He's imposter and shit. That's not me. Are you calling me?
Maybe. I mean, I don't have your number, but
My headphones glitched. Were you calling me?
maybe.
Like a Discord call?
Maybe. Wait. I don't think. I thought
I
we
don't
were.
know. My phone was buzzing, and I'm like, you don't have my phone number. Is that just happens with Discord calls? What the fuck?
Maybe. I mean, I don't know your phone number. That's for sure. Ah.
It was weird. I'm back with pizza.
Lovercast, thank you for the follow. Welcome, man.
Suffocates is now following.
Oh, that's actually... I didn't realize that new Rooster Teeth, I guess I should say, uploaded a homecoming video for themselves. Could watch that sometime. But yeah, pretty much talking about for plans of other future streams and retrospectives is that we could do Red versus Blue. The issue is that I'm not quite. Actually, no. Actually, I think it's on Tubi. Red versus Blue's on Tubi now. I recall. But yeah, we're just going to be yapping about Volume 8 as soon as like, Uni, get out of the fucking kitchen.
Yeah, I think like Red vs. Blue is like one of the popular ones that got a bunch of like deals on streaming services, so you probably could find it somewhere.
Yeah, but after the acquisition from Warner Brothers, they stopped and pulled all that stuff away and put it on their own personal website.
Let me check Tubi real quick. I'm pretty sure it's probably on there. If
It's
not,
on there now, but like before, not so much.
I'm pretty sure, even if it isn't on there, I'm pretty sure you could get like the DVDs probably cheap. I've seen them at like Dollar Tree for like $1.
Yeah. Is that a Magic the Gathering card? Yes, it is. And it was actually a gift made by Dakota right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's play Magic
Probably
the
wants to
Gathering.
like make that like a U character here or something.
Let's play Magic the Gathering for the right to be called Dakota. See, that's the thing, is that Dakota's not good with card games, unfortunately. I've tried getting him to Magic, but...
I'd be stupid. I don't get it. You ever see like clips of like SpongeBob or like Patrick is like trying to like come up with a thought and like it's just like the gears burning in his head. That's me playing Magic. Like I'm just desperately trying to come up with a strategy, and then I do it, and it's like, oh, that's not gonna work.
What kind of format do you like to play, VT Dakota? I could play you sometime. Play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's way easier. As a former Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, that's debatable. Especially with some instances where it seems simple enough, but then you get to the more aggressive archetypes where it just makes it unfun, and then you have that one turn kill type of people, whereas there's just me over here wanting to play my hero deck and that's it.
I remember watching someone, they were talking about like how they try to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And they're like doing an online game or something. And there's someone just did a move that took like 30 minutes or an hour, and they're like, yeah. Like their first turn, like one of their turns, just one turn just took so long. I'm like, yeah, this is why I quit.
Yeah, and you can have turns like that in Magic the Gathering as well. It's just with Magic, I suppose it's more straightforward, I suppose. And then it's just saying, oh, I'm being facetious. Well, that's understandable, because the saying like, oh, it's easier is always a joke when it comes to like certain like complicated card games like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic. Especially because like for me, when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh! It was always certain like archetypes. Like, so you would have like dinosaurs, hero deck, and then cyber dragons, blue eyes deck to I stopped watching Yu-Gi-Oh! After 5D, so, and then you have like specific, like wizard deck, basically like that. But when I got into Magic the Gathering, I realized it's kind of that as well, but there is more of a tight-knit strategy or stratagem when it comes to how to play your cards, and which I actually enjoyed a lot more, especially when I got into the commander format, where you can pick a singular creature to be your commander to represent the color of your deck and what your archetype is. So like there's this one precon deck named was it Lathro or Lathless? I think it's Lathless is the dragon. Lathro is the black-green elf commander, where every time she hits you, she makes elf token creatures totaling the number of damage she dealt to you. So she typically does 2 damage, and so every 2 damage she does to you, she makes 2 elves. And when she has like 10 or more elf tokens or 10 or more elf creatures under your control, you can tap Lathril to drain your opponent for 10 life and gain 10 life. And so it's like that kind of like stratagem. So the focus of her deck is very clear and obvious. It's like you want to have Lathril hit hard, make more elves, and then have her just life drain your opponents. I do love Yu-Gi-Oh though, tournament turns and all, LMAO. I used to love Yu-Gi-Oh back in high school, and it was hilarious is that one of my friends back in high school even tried getting me into Magic. I could not understand how to play for the life of me. And it wasn't until COVID hit back in 2020, the late end of 2020, where I got so bored at home that I said fuck it and just started researching Magic the Gathering, because both my online friends and my work buddies were making me want to get into Magic as well, and I said fuck it finally. And then I got into the Norse mythology themed Magic set called Call Time, and then I just started cracking packs like crazy, and then that's how I got into Magic the Gathering. Now, I didn't know how to play properly until like maybe 6 months after I got into Magic.
Is it possible to make a Magic the Gathering deck that involves shadows,
Yes.
currency, and wizards?
Yes.
So that way you can have the Shadow Money Wizard Gang deck?
Yes. And there's probably multiple ways you could probably go about something as janky sounding as that. If you want all 5 colors, then there's like maybe a couple wizard cards where you can have all 5 colors and just make a whole wizard deck like that. I kind of attempted something similar to that with Garth One Eye, and it kind of works, but because of how not well put together it is, it's just jank, and so it's just it plays horribly compared to my other decks.
Shadow Money Wizard Gang, we love casting spells.
Legalize nuclear bombs. Oh wait, hold on.
I got you.
Legalize nuclear bombs.
Bleh. Man, that was really annoying to try to edit that together to the point where it does have the fatality part to it. What was I saying before? Okay, so I guess it is proper to how we were going to do Volume 8 to Volume 9, then Ice Kingdom, because it's the same way as well. So I think after we do Volume 9, we'll do the fan documentary of the fall of Rooster Teeth before going to Ice Kingdom, because Ice Kingdom, as of right now, was the last RWBY related animated media that is still canonical to the overall RWBY lore.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
is it like 2D animation or something?
yeah, it's 2D animation. It's made by what was the studio who made it? They are made by Shaft, which is a studio founded by Gen Urobuchi. And for those who are not aware who Gen Urobuchi is, he is the creator of Madoka Magica. And so if you are aware of what Madoka Magica is, you know how fucked up it is.
When I do not.
I've told you a little bit about it.
Oh yeah, yeah, you've told me about it, but like I don't know what it looks like or who the characters are. So like it's just kind of like, oh, it's a show about magical girls and it gets dark.
Oh, it pretty much. That's basically the gist of it. And I could send you like maybe clips or videos of it like later time, but like it's it's a very convoluted series, and Gen Urobuchi just loves that sort of thing while also killing off characters in some significant way possible.
You know what? After watching like this season with the amount of like character deaths, it was just like, oh, he's like, oh yeah, I'll do a RWBY show.
I would think that would actually be the inspiration or for having Gen Urobuchi to sign off and like, yeah, I want to make a RWBY show. But yeah, RWBY Ice Kingdom is done by I don't think it's done by Gen Urobuchi himself. Let me see. Writers Tao Ubukata, Kenjiro Okada, Toshimasa Suzuki, Kazuma Jinuchi, Nobuku Toda. No, so yeah, Gen Urobuchi does not have a hand in it, but it's from his studio.
Mhm.
And it's supposed to be set during the event of, like, in between volumes 1 and 2, from what I remember correctly. So let's just read the overview really quick, and then we can get into the nitty-gritty of what the fuck we just watched. Salem and her forces arrive in Atlas and battle against General Ironwood's army. Meanwhile, Ruby's group and the Happy Huntresses all struggle to aid the people of Atlas and Mantle from the Grim and get the Amity communication tower operational while avoiding arrest by Ironwood's forces. With chaos spiraling throughout the kingdom, the heroes struggle between fighting Salem's machinations and Ironwood's ruthless actions. All the while, Penny Palladina begins going through an existential crisis after becoming the Winter Maiden, while Crow Bronwyn and Robin Hill bond over their similarities after being framed for Clover Ebby's death. During the conflict, people from all sides, like Yang's group, start to distrust the people they work with and begin to take risks in order to pursue their own goals in the process. Meanwhile, Salem's most recent Grim begins to put everything known about the Grim until now into question. So there's a lot of things, and let me just snooze that real quick. There's a lot of things that happen in volume 8, especially with oh, okay, here's the development right here. So, like, before we actually get into the actual details, which will probably be spoilers for those who have not watched RWBY as of yet, if you haven't yet, I highly encourage you to do now. In your own methods, there are ways that you can watch RWBY for your horror sakes, or if you have like an Amazon Prime account, I think you can access or rent RWBY episodes.
Yeah,
what that means.
Yeah, just have it like 4 times speed in a different tab, like right now while you watch.
But basically, similarly to how we went from volume 6 to 7, it's basically that from where we left off with volume 7 to 8, where we're all... So, I think I mentioned this last stream or the stream before that, where someone mentions that the span of RWBY Volume 7 is like within a couple days, even though I think at least there is some noticeable time skips, like months or weeks at least, since the start of Volume 7 happening throughout to the end of it. But with Volume 8, at least, if they said it then, I would have believed them, because it seems like that the pacing and the time lapse within Volume 8 was at least a couple days or so. Volume 8 starts off with Salem arriving and Ironwood just going ham because he can't trust anyone anymore, and ends up pretty much going into martial law. And I kind of mentioned this before in last stream, where Ironwood is basically wanting to detach Atlas from the Kingdom of Mantle and live in the fucking clouds for the rest of his life. Don't know how or why that would have been better than, you know, fighting for a chance to survive, but I digress.
I believe he mentioned that, like, the Grim can't go into space, so, like, they'd basically be like, Salem just couldn't touch him.
Right, but then you face the issues with overpopulation, gene degradation, because you need so many humans in order to populate
Future
properly.
Atlas's problem.
That is a fair point, but in the long run, it's gonna end up being literally like oh, what's that floating city called in BioShock Infinite? Columbus, I think it is. Columbia? I think it's either Columbus or Columbia, where everyone basically loses their fucking minds because of overdosing on a local drug that they made, and then interbreeding, and then just isolation from the rest of the world. And so it honestly, if it didn't fall like it did in Volume 8, Atlas would have just been another Columbia, which is not a good sign. It is not. And so we had a lot of introductions, a lot of things. A noticeable thing is character design changes for the villains, because we always see like because up until now it's always the main characters that get a design change from volumes 1 through 3, 4 through 6 to 7 to 9. But how do you feel about all the villains having except for Tyrion, I think. Tyrion's the only one that I don't think had an outfit change.
I don't think everyone had a costume change. Like, I think it was just like, what's her name? The green hair girl. Peppermint?
Emerald?
Emerald. And then like her like guy friend.
Mercury?
Yeah.
Mercury?
But Mercury was pretty subtle. Like, he might not have gotten changed. I don't know. But like, I think it only looked like. Well, I think maybe Basil looked different, but it wasn't necessarily like a costume change. His whole model looked kind of different. He looked smaller.
Yeah, I did notice that too. He did look noticeably smaller. I think it might have been the ponytail.
Maybe he had a ponytail.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. At least
he had like short hair. What do you mean he had a ponytail?
I'm fairly certain Hazel had a ponytail in this volume.
He had a rat tail this whole time. I didn't notice.
Oh, in this season at least. Hazel volume 8, and that was a weird design choice too, in my opinion. I did not like maybe the shirt change and everything, yeah, but like the ponytail was an interesting choice. Yep.
Like, was he like super tall before? Maybe they shrunk him a little bit so that way he'd be like in frame better with other characters.
Maybe, but yeah, I'm looking at one of his concept design art for Volume 8, and yeah, he does have a ponytail.
Nah, this is gaslighting. He had short hair.
I swear he has a ponytail. If anything, and also he did have like that weird like ear length hair in previous volumes, and to suddenly put it into a ponytail is interesting. But yeah, he does have a noticeable change as well.
Did he have longer hair?
Yeah,
Did he have like bangs? Not bangs, but like to the side.
We're gonna be like so sidetracked with just Hazel's design as well.
I mean, it's been like when was the last time I watched? Like 2 weeks ago. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, and I hate how the weather has just been mostly against me with trying to get us to do RWBY Tuesdays, and it didn't help that we lost Phoenix along the way too. Yeah, there's that his design art for Volume 8, and then before he had like what was that, trench coat?
He didn't have a ponytail. That looks weird.
Yeah, he had a ponytail the entire time.
This is from 2020. This is new.
That is his concept art right there.
This is 2020. This season we just watched was a 2020 season.
His Rooster Teeth animation.
Whatever.
What do you mean? Volume 8 came out in 2020. November 5th, 2020.
I don't know. This volume came out in 2020. And he had a redesign. This is his old design.
Nope.
That says on the image you sent me 2020. It's too recent for this. I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm just being silly.
Silly Billy.
Did he ever get like a backstory episode? Because I'm pretty sure he's dead.
No, not as far as I'm aware. Not really a backstory. I mean, he had a slight explanation given to us offhand by Ozpin.
Yeah, it was weird. Like he had kids or something, and they died, and he blames Ozpin, so he joins Salem. And I'm like,
So
that
Hazel,
would have been nice to have a flashback, maybe. Like
Maybe.
we got a flashback for Cinderfall for some reason this season. Like I don't. Like,
okay, it's nice that
like,
you
why
brought that up.
now?
So it's a good thing you brought up. We'll segue back into that in a little bit. But so from what I remember, it was explained back in volume 5, I believe. Yeah, volume 5, where everyone was fighting at Haven Academy, and Ozpin was telling Oscar about why Hazel hates him so much, and it was because that because Hazel is from the Hansel and Gretel story, and so
who is he?
he's
Is he the huntsman?
no, he's Hansel.
Oh,
Hansel.
oh, his sister died, and it was Gretel.
Yes, his sister is Gretel, who's named Gretchen.
Damn it, Salem baked her into a cookie, that bitch.
And that's the thing that okay, so we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Okay, just keep following me, Dakota.
Wicked witch.
Just keep following me, Dakota. Okay.
All right.
Gretchen is Gretel.
Does that mean Salem? Does that mean
Oh my
Salem
God.
has a cookie house?
Possibly, maybe.
That's so out of character. Well, she did have like that pretty house in the flashback. It
Yeah.
wasn't made out of cookies, but like I guess I could see it.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together now. But Gretchen was a student of Ozpin. She was set on a mission and died on that mission. And since then, Hansel blamed Ozpin for all that. And then Oscar, later being interrogated by Hazel in this season, was like, "Okay, you hate me. I understand that." Or I'm sorry, it was Ozpin. It was Ozpin saying this. But like Ozpin was like, "Yeah, I know you will hate me, and I understand that. You have every single reason to hate me. But why is Salem any better when she is more or less the reason your sister died? Or the cause of your sister's death?" And then he was like, "Shit, you're right."
That is true. My boss was the murderer, but I blame you.
Exactly, and so that's kind of how where we get a heel turn, or not heel turn, or face turn for Hazel later in the season. But we're getting ahead of ourselves there. So for whatever reason, we have I forgot what it's called, but it's a conflict in the third act of the movie where the main characters, for whatever reason, have a conflict that causes them to work negatively or have a temporary break up. And that's basically what we got at the start of Volume 8, where everyone is trying to formulate their plans to both stop Salem, help the people of Atlas, and then give Ironwood the middle finger all at the same time. And the issue is no one could come to the conclusion of deciding what the fuck to do, and more or less that causes everyone to create a rift between themselves to separate and to go off doing their own thing. But then later on in the season they come back together to work together again, which is, the issue there is that happens in movies all the time, or most movies I should say, where you see that and then they later come back together later on in the movie for whatever reason that causes them to break up.
It does kind of feel like that happens a lot with this show each season. Is like, but I guess they have to do that, otherwise there's like no real character growth. But they've already kind of grown, so they just do it over and over again.
And that's another issue with Rooster Teeth writing, is that they kind of ham-fist and force things that are quite unnecessary at times.
Like like if it wasn't there, the show would just be too easy, I guess. Where it's like, oh, they have their character growth, they're perfect best friends, and they can stop the bad guy, and the seasons will be way shorter. So they just kind of write themselves in a corner. Like, all right, they break up, and then they come back at the end each season. Like I understand it, but it's like there's a lot of seasons in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of season ends, very repetitive, which is one of the reasons that kind of stifles character growth and their own writing, where they kind of write themselves in the corner, which just, everyone should be at. It was actually one of the reasons why Oscar was introduced in the first place, because by the time we got into Volume 4, RWBY was already, because like RWBY was supposed to be the fish out of water in the first 3 seasons, because she is so young and inexperienced and not knowing how the world works in actuality. And then by the time
she was the viewer, the window character.
Yes, and then when she gets more well adjusted and slapped with reality by the end of Volume 3, going into Volume 4, we get introduced to Oscar, who is now the new RWBY, more or less, to be the viewer, the fish out of water for us, to vicariously see through his eyes. And then, but 3 seasons later, he's now adjusted to that, and now they're kind of at an impasse where they're forcing all these already well-developed, well-adjusted characters to have conflict amongst themselves, even though they know that's kind of what Salem wants, is you're fighting amongst themselves and separating, and that's basically in Salem's hands. That's basically what she wants. And that does play into the factor of a good soldier follows orders kind of stuff, in which we see with the Aesops with later in the season, where the Aesops confront Yang and her group, having discovered the River of Grimm about to launch an attack on Atlas, and the Aesops aren't listening to them at all, and look what happens. The fucking River of Grimm takes out the Atlas's shields and causes Salem to have the upper hand and attack with all of her forces with little to no resistance. Like, you kind of sat on your own hands on that one, Aesops.
Like, literally turn your head, you see like the slime from Ghostbusters 2, like living embodiment of evil. Like, yeah, we're fugitive, but just look right, please, real quick.
Yep, and that's where it gets into the annoying factor of Julie, knock it off. Not the zoomies. Of the annoying factor and the repetitive annoyance that we kept seeing towards the end of Volume 7, where it's a good soldiers follow orders. And it's just like, okay, but like there's an extent where you see all this craziness happening to the point where Ironwood wants to nuke a whole fucking citizen population just to get what he wants, and no one is going AWOL over that. Well, they can do later on, but like probably should have done it like long before it got to that point.
What was his plan when he got the Stick of Creation? Was it to like make the Atlas able to go into space? Was that it?
Basically. Well, it's not necessarily space he was gonna have Atlas go into. It was more or less
like
be
in the atmosphere.
Yeah, like a satellite, more or less, a satellite city.
Okay. Like, how did that work? Would he's like, because like, isn't the rules like the guy the staff can create something, but the last thing it creates gets destroyed?
It gets
so like
replaced.
He'd be like, all right, make me a space station, basically, but like it will basically destroy Atlas, but also rebuild Atlas into a space station. Like, how would that work?
So basically,
He's kind of just adding on to it. He'd have to be very specific Otherwise, it would just like remove parts of Atlas. Like, all right, I build half a space station, but half of it got destroyed because that was built already.
No, more or less what he was trying to do is pretty much have Atlas ascend further into like the atmosphere, more or less.
Yeah, but like it would destroy Atlas too. So like, if he adds to it, the other half would be destroyed. So you just like rebuild it from scratch, in order for like, because the genie guy was like he has like genie rules where he like has to be very literal.
You
what I
have to be
mean?
very specific. If you miss a single
Yeah.
detail, then it could bite you in the ass. And you do see that later on when you get introduced to Ambrosius and what he makes with the pathways.
Hmm. How did it work? It's going to a head.
But oh no, well I guess it's not too far ahead so basically Team RWBY and friends split up because everyone is having different opinions. Yang and her side wanted to just directly help the citizens of Mantle to relocate to a safer location where they're not going to be swarmed with Grimm. And RWBY and the rest of her team basically want to find a way to stop Salem and to
Send the tower up into space so they can warn everyone.
yeah, Amity Tower up into space to warn the rest of Remnant. And for whatever reason, no one thought that was a good idea, and so, or at least Yang's group didn't think that was an idea, and that creates internal conflict amongst themselves, and ends up semi-working and semi-biting everyone in the ass at the same time. Because you have Yang and her group doing right, helping others. However, because of that divide, it causes Salem to have an opportunity to kidnap Oscar. And at the same time, with opening Amity Coliseum Tower to blast off into the air, it creates an opportunity for Cinder to attack Penny and bring down the tower as well. However, both sides still end up getting what they wanted in the end, where Yang and friends are helping people, RWBY and friends, and Penny are having the Amity Coliseum up in the stratosphere, albeit temporarily, thanks to the intervention of Cinder. Trying to find Ambrosius' name on this list of characters that are in the episode. You would think he'd be up here because he is just introduced. There's Jin. Where's Ambrosius? Oh wait, there he is.
What's Ambrosia?
It's the genie guy for the Staff of Creation.
Is Ambrosia like a food?
That's a good question. What's his trivia say? Ambrosia.
Food.
Ambrosius' code name throughout the writing volume 8 was Merlin Daddy. The writers have clarified that he's not directly based on Merlin, stating that they didn't want people to think that due to their joking of his placeholder name. Ambrosius is the food or drink of the Greek gods, often depicted as conferring longevity or immortality upon whoever consumes it. Miscellaneous at a height of approximately 13 feet, Ambrosius is the tallest non-Grimm being in Remnant. Ooh, that's interesting.
My favorite fairy tale book, a cookbook. Neapolitan's probably in there too.
That is actually true.
It's like, what fairy tale is this character based on? Food.
Well, see, that's the thing about the naming conventions of Monty Ohm, is that and this is where you get into the separation between Monty's era of RWBY to current era of RWBY, is that his era for naming conventions were mostly based off of if it looks like a color, sounds like a color, or seems like a color, then that is basically where the color conventions of their color identity and their designs come from. So Yang is Goldilocks, and so she's got
Mhm.
blonde hair and a lot of gold accents and a lot of like yellowy colors and whatnot.
When do
Then,
we meet the three bears?
you know, it's funny you mentioned that, and I swear to God, it's a missed opportunity back in Volume 1 where Yang, like, you know, the launch pads and everything that launches all the kids in the forest, the full Grim, and then
Mhm.
Yang immediately encounters two fucking Grim Bear, or I mean,
Uh-huh.
Ursa, and so, but it's like only two of them and not three, and so, like, that was a missed
Oh, yeah.
opportunity to, like, make it a Goldilocks reference.
Dang, I guess Baby Bear gets spared.
Apparently.
Would you kill a baby Grim?
Yes.
It's
Mostly,
just an innocent baby.
it is literally made to kill humans on the
Yeah,
spot.
but it's a baby.
It's a beast.
Give it a fair shot to be an adult.
Why would you get? Okay, I'm not gonna get that. And also, in fairness, they normally Grim, from how it's depicted in RWBY, is that they basically come out of like a summoning pool fully grown as well. So it's like not even a like a matter of like, oh, it's a baby, you can't kill a baby, let it grow up to be adult first. And like, it's not even that kind of
Oh,
argument.
yeah,
at
they're
that
all
point.
babies, so we can't kill the Grim at all.
Technically, they're like vision logic where like they're born yesterday, but like they're already a grown adult.
Hmm. Do you think Grims have memories?
That was an interesting question. I don't think so. No. They do remember. They do remember because that's how like Elder Grim,
Mhm.
because they learn from the mistakes that they survived.
Okay. So they're sentient.
To a
You're
degree.
killing sentient beings.
They're like the xenomorphs from Alien, where like
Mhm.
they are sentient, but they're like killing machines than anything.
Okay.
Alright, so yes, basically, so King Ruby separate. One wants to fix the Amnesty Coliseum and send it into space. The other wants to help the people of Mantle. Both are doing their own thing, but both encounter their own problems. With Salem wanting to capture and does capture Oscar to interrogate. To Penny, Pietro, and Maria encountering Salem, Neapolitan, and Emerald on Amity Coliseum, where Salem more or less hinders the plan significantly. Not so much that it destroys their plan outright, because they do get a message out to the rest of Remnant, but it doesn't fully reinstate the communication system that was destroyed back in Volume 3.
Mhm.
So for like 3 minutes, they were able to send out a message to everybody giving a warning about the existence of Salem, the Maidens, and the Relics.
Mhm.
And let's see. Then while at the same time in Yang's neck of the woods, her group gets attacked by a new Grim, an interesting Grim, and a Grim that we'll talk about in a little bit. But the Grim ends up being a lot smarter than the most Grim, where it's using Oscar as a shield and is able to even speak. Now, here's an issue with that scene in particular, and they do rectify. No, they do make it a lot more stupid as well, because they even have somebody do like thick. It's really hard to word it, but like, so Oscar gets captured and he's being used as a meat shield, basically, so no one can attack this new Grim. Here's the issue with that, is that he's surrounded at on three sides. He's got Jean on one side, he's got Ren at one side, and he's got Yang from behind.
Mm.
No one thinks of jumping him. Or no one
Yeah.
thinks of, like, hitting him from behind while he's distracted, holding Oscar as a shield one direction, and Yang can't just pop him from behind.
Well, I guess you don't know how fast he is. They don't want to accidentally shoot Oscar. But then again, his job is to take Oscar alive, so I don't know why we would use him as a shield.
Exactly. And then later, when that same Grim is sent after to hunt down Penny, you see that same Grim be attacked from different angles when his focus is on one thing or another. And it just doesn't make any sense. It makes that scene a little more unbelievable, or not so much unbelievable, but a lot more forced. Like, it could have been done better, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. With how it was like hunting Penny, it looked like, I guess it was like smell based because they were all covered in Penny's fluids.
Penny juice.
But like, how did he get Penny's smell?
That's a good question. We will
Was
never
like
know.
Salem's like, yo, go get that robot girl. And then like, she smells like motor oil. You'll find her.
See, that's a good question. We'll never know.
Like, there, it smells like a mechanic's workshop in here. Which one is Penny?
Why is this robot girl smell like a Big Mac? But like yeah, we'll never know. Probably, possibly. I don't know.
Bro, can you imagine if she had red blood? That would just everyone just be covered in Penny's blood.
And it's one of those things where it's like a creative way to get around censors.
Yeah, it's like the whole like, I think it's like the censor chart where it's like if it's like a different color, it's fine, but if it's red, that's a no.
Mm-hmm. Which, I don't know, Ruby so far has actually gone away with a lot of blood. Yeah. And swearing. They've been doing a lot more swearing. Because, like, up until now, it was just, like, damn or hell or bitch, and that's about it. And they've only done, like, those words, like, once from, like, Volume 3 to now. And then now you have, like, other curse words, like, and then they're going from damn to...
I think the sheep girl said crap at one point this season.
I think you're right, and then Emerald says, pissed.
Always piss, but never piss.
Yep. Fuck, where are we going? Alright, so after the Grim catches Oscar is getting interrogated in probably the best way I would want to by Salem, because goddamn, I love a woman that can kick my ass. And then Hazel gets in on it, and goddamn, it goes from 1 to 100 because he has got a lot of aggression for Ospen.
In chat, kill it.
On thought.
Fuck, do they have an Ina profile pic? You're a bot. Get Ina's name. What the fuck?
What the fuck indeed?
Whoever paid for that bot is the Nina fan.
That's sad.
Like the YouTube animation, not the VTuber / video game. It's a video game now.
Alright. And so while that's happening, everyone's having doubts of like everything. So like Emerald's having doubts of working for Salem, and I kind of want, like, when we get into Emerald's face turn, I kind of want it to like actually like divvy off me ranting on us actually like reacting to a clip or a video that actually of Manga Common, because Manga Kamen is also a huge RWBY fan as well, and he's very more linguistically prepared to voice valid criticisms towards the writing of RWBY than I am in that regard. I never forget the V3 finale that had the mature content warning. Yeah. Because of like how everything went from like 1 to 100 in like the last couple episodes of Volume 3 and kind of like changed the entirety of the tone of RWBY going forward. Emerald changing sides has been seeded throughout pretty much the whole story, I feel like.
Yeah. Like, she never came across as evil. She just liked Cinder. But when Cinder, she felt like, oh, Cinder's kind of mean to me now.
Well,
It's like she had no idea. I don't think she even knew anything about fucking Salem. She was just like following Cinder, and then like, all right, by the way, this is my boss, like literal Satan, basically. And we're gonna be working for her now. And she's like, I didn't sign up for this. Who's this witch woman?
well, no, because in Volume 3 there is that weird little flashback to both Emerald and Mercury, and then you have like those black scenes where all you can hear is like flashback voices as well, where Cinder did introduce Emerald and Mercury to Salem at one point.
Yeah, but even then, her allegiance was always to Cinder. She never really gave a fuck about Salem.
Yeah.
And then when like Cinder was out of the equation, it's like, all right, you're my henchman now. Emerald's like, what? I'm not really into this like destroy the world shit. I'm just like,
yeah, Emerald always
my adopted mom.
Yeah, but Emerald was always like throughout the I think Volume 4, I believe. 4 going forward, always being scared to even work or even be near Salem, which is understandable. And you can even see that to a degree, especially with Hazel around, where he's always trying to protect Mercury and Emerald to a degree where, like, I think even at the end of Volume 6, I believe. No, I'm sorry. Volume 5, where their mission to take over and destroy Haven Academy for their relic is kaput, and he's trying to take all the blame onto himself because he knows, like, if he doesn't say anything or do anything, the kids literally on his left and right are going to be put through the ringer, and he does not want that to happen. That's why I liked Hazel. Hazel was always like, even though he was a hard ass, but he was like a good guy hard ass. Like when he went to go meet Sienna Khan to make a deal with her, he did not want to have her killed, but Adam killed her anyways. And on top of that, he didn't want the kids, Mercury and Emerald, to be in harm's way or suffer Salem's wrath, and so that's why he even took the responsibility of their failure onto himself. And then, but you also see in that same scene where Emerald is so fucking scared shitless to do anything that you can see that being the cause of her wanting to turn face. At the same time, the thing about it is, like, her changing sides isn't the issue, is that there's no consequences to her actions. Considering that a good portion of all that has happened throughout RWBY is because of her. You know, from Pyrrha killing Penny the first time to help taking down, being the fall of Beacon in general. So, like, and that's the issue, and that's kind of where I want to get into when we get to that part, or probably maybe to the end of this stream, where we do watch the video on Manga Kamen's opinion on how to not do character redemption arcs, I think is what the video is called. Hazel was the only one of Salem's generals I really liked. Honestly, same. He was like, well, I like him for being a good guy, bad guy, where, like, he's not being evil for the sake of being evil. He's doing it for a justifiable reason. I like
his revenge.
Revenge, yes. And I like Watts because of his charisma, and he does. Oh, you blinked out for a bit, Dakota. But you're good now. But I do, especially his charisma as a character in Volume 8, especially where Salem is like got him held over the building that they're standing on, and he literally like what could be his final moments, even goes out of his way to chew her out and slap her with a reality check before he goes out, and it ends up saving his life, at least for that time being. And it was a really good speech too, as well. You want to be chosen, but you have to be worthy. You know, I like that speech.
Bro, he's like, basically he's just like, bitch, you don't, like, yeah, you could win, but like, you're kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And she's like, God damn, you're right.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it smart. Let's waste the last question.
In fairness, that is a smart thing to do, and at that point, it's, well, other than Salem being unable to utilize the last wish for herself, it's not really a loss to her, because she now has the relic. I was like, oh, 100 years? That's like a minute to me at this point in her very long lifetime.
Centuries. She just wants to die.
That's another thing too. Is like I don't. It seems a little ridiculous that she wants to be a doomer at that point. Like, there's gotta be more to that. Like, yeah, living that long is sad and everything, but like at the same time, she could have made a happy life out of it too, because she finally got her Ozma back after, you know, even regrettably waiting for too much longer than she probably should have in the first place. But like, she got what her request was the long way around, but you know, you know what I mean? It's just not clicking for me. It's not making any sense. And this goes back to what I said last stream, is like, okay, she wants to die, cool, but what makes you think that the gods are gonna make that happen now after all this time?
Well, to be fair, in her logic, is they told her, as long as the Earth, basically the world exists, you will be alive. But if there's no world, then she'll just die.
See, at that, I would just, if I were the god of light and darkness, I would just be so fucking petty that I would like just leave her with like a small chunk of remnant the size of like maybe an island or something like that, and just leave her stranded there alone for all eternity, floating through space, unable to leave that place.
I'm just thinking of like Salem as like a Mies. He's like, I can't take it anymore. I just want to die.
Oh my god.
Things are starting to get weird.
I mean, the brothers literally erased the entire world that known up to that point, and made her the only survivor. They didn't erase the world. They wiped out every single human in the world. That's something that they Thanos snapped and went back for seconds. Basically, that's the brother of the god of darkness, just Thanos snapped everyone basically, and left Salem alive to suffer punishment of isolation until the next generation of humans would be like evolutionized, basically. Which again, that is a long suffering of isolation. But again, like, she had Ozma back, they had a family, she's no longer alone anymore, and she's got what she wanted from the beginning. But again, the long way around, I should say. So like, there should be no issue now at that point. Yeah, but she's part Grimm, which is pure evil. I want to say she's part Grimm. I would say that because she was in the God of Light's fountain, and then she went to the God of Darkness's fountain, which corrupted her, I guess, but at the same time, it still made her logical at the same time.
She's basically, I feel like she's basically like become a hybrid between the light and the dark, where like she basically got the life, eternal life from the god of life, basically, and then fell into the pit of the grim pit, and where it basically became like a being of pure destruction, where she just wants to break shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, like when Ozma came back the first time around,
Yeah, but he just came back, granted with immortal reincarnation powers, but like he just came back.
Yeah,
He's
but
not like corrupted with dark found and shit.
yeah, but her first initial idea was not to destroy humanity with Ozma, was to rule over humanity as like the new gods of remnants, which at first started out off fairly well, you know, and they even had the kids and everything as well, and they had the first generation of children that actually had naturally gifted magic in millennia. So it was like literally oh yeah, it's all come together now. And being probably like one of the biggest upswings in that long downhill isolation for Salem for the longest time, and then I don't know. It's just
Why did she turn again? Like with the kid, like killed her kids and whatever.
it's never explained.
Was it just like? Was it because like Ozpin was gonna leave because she's evil and dangerous? I'm just gonna leave.
Basically,
I'm taking the kids.
more or less, that is basically the justification of why she freaked out so much that she ended up getting into a spousal fight with Ozma that killed their kids in the crossfire. That's it.
I honestly still kind of think that the kids are like the first maidens and they just reincarnate like Ozpin.
I wish that would be more of a...
Granted, like slightly different because their souls aren't like reincarnating, but the powers are.
I would hope that would be a retcon in maybe future seasons, and whenever Rooster Teeth gets back to that, because that would make justifiable sense that after Ozma's kids die, they end up, you know, him storing their souls away, but to be given out to more worthy maidens to be able to carry out their legacy more or less. But it's even, but both the 4 seasons fairy tale within RWBY lore, and further justified and confirmed by Oscar / Osmond later on, is that yeah, it's like it's from his power source. He's a great powerful wizard, but like after he divided his power up to the 4 maidens, like yeah, I'm powerful, but I'm not that powerful anymore.
What if his magic was just his magic in bed?
I mean, they have 4
And
kids.
that's how the maidens happen.
That'd be hilarious. I mean,
What if plot twist, Crow and like what's her name are also Ozpin's kids?
You mean Raven?
Yeah, whatever. She hasn't been here in a while.
I don't think.
And he's like, oh, I'm going to give you magical powers, but it's like you already have it, like genetically. I'm just like awakening it.
I don't think so. I mean, it could possibly be a thing they could do, but it's not likely to happen. Knowing,
he's lived so long.
you know,
Probably had multiple wives.
you know, it's actually funny you mentioned that too. You think there would be like other generations of like Ozma's descendants somewhere in the world at this point?
Well, I believe in the flashback where it was showing him like reincarnating, it did show like a couple of them had families, but they might have had families before he possessed them.
Yeah.
So like it probably doesn't pass down genetically since he just kind of possesses people.
Yeah. I mean, the fairy tale in question is just a story. Stories get altered over time and become widely believed, Ozpin doesn't really have a reason to correct them, just so the story remains the same. The issue is that
like hear me out. Like, what if, like, basically he's like a grumpy old man, and then like the maidens taught him a lesson, like to go outside or whatever. Who's to say that wasn't just his kids? And he's like, you know what? I love you kids. You guys, I thought I was teaching you stuff, but you taught me something to go touch grass. Thank you.
well, the thing about that Stitch is that it's more or less there's 3 versions of
You there, Jerry?
Sorry, my roommate was making a bunch of noise.
There, I thought Judy finally snapped and took you out.
No. She'll probably do
Like
that one of
karate
these days.
chop.
She'll probably do that when she's bigger, though. Anyways, alright, what was I saying? Yeah, the thing about that Stitch is that with RWBY, as of Volume 3, and a little bit of Volume 4, they have basically 3 confirmations of how the story of the 4 mains goes. And you got the World of Remnant version, which gives you an animated detail clip snippet of how the tale goes from beginning to end. And then you have the retelling of that same tale from the perspective of Pyrrha and Ozpin, to basically Ozpin saying, hey, yeah, out of all those fairy tales, that one's definitely true. And then you have Ozpin and Oscar's body in Volume 5. In Volume 5, where, yes, the tale of the 4 maidens is, again, true. And that it was
Did
a
they show it? Did Jin show that?
No, Jin doesn't come in until Volume 6.
Alright.
But in Volume 5, everyone's asking Ozpin and Oscar's body of how the hell is he alive? What are the 4 maidens? What are the relics? And then he basically answers them like the 4 maidens are what happens in the fairy tale, and that they are all from his power source that he just divided up into these 4 maidens.
It's like, alright, students, you ever see Avatar: The Last Airbender? You probably see Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's basically Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's the maidens.
More or less.
They're like, oh, thanks, Ozpin. That explains everything perfectly.
Well, more or less, like I said, because it's literally just from my understanding in the timeline of things, I'm going to assume that this is where a certain point in his life where he is hit rock bottom, where he just decides to go out and isolate himself from the rest of the world, and these 4 sisters just happen to stumble upon him and basically encourage him at a new hope in life to continue his duty to try to protect the world remnant from Salem.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where he creates the 4 maidens, and then that's where I'm going to assume he becomes the king of Vale and creates the Huntsman Academies and the vaults to store the relics inside of.
Did they give him the relics when they resurrected him, or did that come later?
The relics were formed when when the God of Light resurrected him. And yeah.
Thing is, like, if you get the relics, it summons the gods.
Yes.
Well, like, if Salem's plan is like, alright, I'm gonna summon the gods and they're gonna destroy the world and I'll die, they'll be like, oh, is that your plan? We won't do it then.
No, see, the thing about that is that the God of Light gave Osmond the task of assembling the relics when the time is right, when humanity is united once more, and not in disarray or conflict. And that's basically Osmond's goal the entire time, especially when his past life of being the King of Vale was to assemble the Huntsman Academies to help better unify Remnant.
Mhm.
And Stitch actually brought up a valid point. Could be something where the sisters reminded him of his kids. There has to be some kind of
That's true.
connection. It just lines up too perfectly. See, the thing about that, Stitch, is that this all revolves with the number 4. In the words of Carrie Chartreuse and Miles Luna, was that it's not a coincidence that there are 4 academies. There are 4 people in a team. There are 4 maidens. There are 4 relics, and there's the number 4 keeps on popping up. And Carrie and Miles have said that there is a reason for that, but I don't think they've had the opportunity to explain or show off that reason as of yet. But yes, the number 4 has a significance.
Are there gonna be 2 more silver eyes?
Possibly.
Because like we got like RWBY, we got like Maria. That's her name, right?
Maria, yeah.
You could plot twist and say Ruby's mom's alive. You just need 1 more.
Maybe, possibly. Who knows? The thing about this is that, and this probably would be a good way to segue back into RWBY, Volume 8, where that brand new Grimm reappears again to hunt down for Penny, and everyone fights off the Grimm, and allows RWBY to use her special eye powers to silver eye the fucker, and reveals that underneath that new Grimm exterior is a actual human being, or not human being, a fawn. It's a living person inside that Grimm symbiote exoskeleton. And it turns out, and if you pay attention, that Faunus has silver eyes.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And so when Yang is talking to RWBY about it, she points out that the second that she saw that person's eyes, she realized what might have most likely happened to their mother, Summer.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been...
She's alive.
I suppose there's a chance she could be alive, but
I think she'd be alive because Salem, like, Cinder was like, "What the fuck is that thing?" And Salem, like, "Oh, it's an experiment I've been working on." So implying that making humans into Grimm is like a new thing.
Yes.
So like that did not happen to Ruby's mom.
So this is where it goes in the possibility where we don't know. That's the issue with Ruby's mother being KIA or MIA never being confirmed, because literally the mystery of Ruby's mother is always, oh, she went on a mission and she never came back, but they never found a dead body. So by that extension, it's one of those things where like the character's not confirmed dead unless you see the body for yourself.
Yeah.
And then you got a glimpse of that memory back in Volume 6 of RWBY trying to trigger her eye powers against the Leviathan Grimm. And then one of the memories that helped trigger that ability was a glimpse of her mother. The issue with that is that she was too young to remember her mother at all. And on top of that, the memory of her mother was in front of her own gravestone. So that's one of the fucky things that's hard to understand if she's actually dead or not, because you're remembering your mother that you were too young to know for yourself in front of her own gravestone.
You know what? She is gonna be a Grimm hybrid. You know why? It's gonna be a twist on the big bad wolf. Instead of like the wolf being disguised as the grandma, the grandma is disguised as the wolf.
That'd be interesting.
Well, mom.
That's an interesting take.
Because like the show likes to do fairy tales with twists, but like, all right, what if the mother figure is disguised as a wolf instead of the wolf disguised as the mother, and then they gotta like uncorrupt her.
The entire time, Summer was a Grimm.
She was a furry this whole time, dear God.
Let's see what else. Then after that, Ruby and Yang are having a touchy-feely moment when Ruby is at her lowest because everything they keep on trying to do, any progression they make, always ends up being knocking back to square one somehow. Oh yeah, leading up to this though, we had a little cool moment where Oscar kind of nukes a fucking whale. Honestly, the scene depiction of it was actually pretty surreal as well, probably a little too realistic in my taste, but like, it was so fucking crazy how everything went quiet, and everyone was basically having like rattled eardrum sounds.
They're like, we're gonna put this bomb on the whale and everything's gonna be good, and then it blows up. Like, we didn't put the bomb in yet. What the fuck?
And like the camera perspective kept changing too. Like oh, you see it from far away, but the timer or like the scene resets enough for you to see everyone's perspective on the whale exploding.
And the damn beach whale started to swell up and blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in real life.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting too because that was a lot of fucking power Osmond has been saving up for God knows how long. Especially if it's something that absorbs kinetic energy. You know, just think about that. Think about that. Kinetic energy is literally energy of momentum and movement in general. So like if you if you take your hands and you move them around and you clap them together, that's both opposing kinetic energies colliding to create that clap. And you can build that up through different momentum measures. So like it's a cane. So that cane tapping on the ground for thousands of years is building up a shit ton of kinetic energy of itself. And that's not including it being used as a weapon as well. So that's fucking crazy that...
You know what's unrelatable? It's how, like, in the Marvel movies, Black Panther uses kinetic energy power. They should probably do something like that, where it's like a character has been storing up the kinetic energy for years, and it's like a bomb.
That's basically what... Oh, yeah, I would love to see Marvel do that.
inspiration.
Yeah, Marvel doing something.
But, like, I feel like you'd have to, like, set that up, like, really earlier. It's kind of too late to do that now, but that would have been cool.
Something. What else? I'm flunking. But
He accidentally butt dialed his cane and just set it off. Like he trips and drops his cane. He's like, "Oh shit!"
I think
And
that's
it's like Squidward landing on the pie.
I think that's kind of why there is a little bit of build-up for it to go off like that.
I don't know. It kind of just happened suddenly, and like I was kind of confused. Like, what did Ozpin do?
He
And so it
helped.
was like, "Oh, my king," and then he just explained it afterward. My king has been storing kinetic energy for centuries, and it's like a bomb. But I only use some of the kinetic energy.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh, okay."
yeah, he said he used most
Okay,
of it.
Ozpin. Deus Ex Machina weapon. Okay.
It's something. And I swear to God, I know where the fuck the relic for Beacon Academy is. I swear to God, I know where it is, and they're just waiting to reveal it in future seasons. Because when Osmond was the king of Vale, he always wore a crown. And normally, when if a king doesn't have an heir, he gets buried with the crown. So I'm going to say that one of his past life body has that crown on his head, buried somewhere.
Well, I was like, would Salem have killed them, or did he just die a different way?
I think he might have died of natural causes, maybe.
Oh,
Because there are like a lot of times where like Osmond seems to be like in that range of things where like this body's getting too old to continue. I'll set some stuff aside for the next person, my next heir to continue on.
Hmm.
But yeah, so Ruby and Weiss, Ruby and Yang are having their moment, and then they come up with an idea of so they stop Penny from terminating herself in Minecraft.
Yeah. By the way, she was what's his name? Arth Watts was working with Ironwood to like hack Penny, and now she's wants to like self-destruct and get the relic.
Well, get the relic, then self-destruct in that order.
Yeah.
And then she is trying to escape. All of her friends stop her, thankfully, and they basically get her under control enough to formulate a crazy-ass idea that mostly works in the end, where they sneak into the vault for the Staff of Creation. They summon Ambrosius, and then he has Ambrosius basically transfer Penny's soul into a real-life human body. So now she's a real girl! Now the Pinocchio story is complete.
I'm sorry, but it's kind of like the whole thing was like Ira was like, "Yo, we need the Staff of Creation to save like Atlas." Like, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. No, we can't do that. And then like Ruby's like, "Wait, I have a plan. Let's get the Staff of Creation." It's like, I don't know. They could have just done that earlier. So the whole point was like, no, we can't open it. Wait, what if we open it?
Well, the issue is that wasn't the initial.
Like, yeah, it was last minute thing. Like, all right, we can get it to save everyone, but like, Cinder stole it. Salem has it now.
Well, around this time, like this is when also when all the cards start falling into place together, and this is where you have your Kronk moment where like, oh yeah, everything's coming together now. Where like Crow and Robin break out. Winter and Marrow have face turns, and everything is starting to fucking click together, basically.
Mm.
And everyone sets up a plan where they take down Ironwood. They sneak into the vault, and then they get the Staff of Creation, and then they summon Ambrosius, and then they have Ambrosius create a new body to transfer Penny's soul into, and where she now becomes a real girl. And
how does that work? They didn't give him blueprints how to make a fucking human being.
No idea. We're just going with it at this point.
She should have just been like a soul and just like faded into the ether.
No idea. But because they did that thing, they ended up terminating the gravity situation for Atlas, and now Atlas is slowly descending into Mantle. And so while everything is still frozen, they have Ambrosius create these portals to be able to transfer all the citizens of Mantle and Atlas to basically go into this pocket dimension to have a safe way travel into Vacuo to Shade Academy. And then, while this is happening, Cinder and friends end up having the Relic of Knowledge. They use the Last Wish, and they basically get like a head start on everyone of what the fuck their plan is going, and where to go and shit like that. So, while Team RWBY is helping everyone exit into, escape to Vacuo, Salem and Neapolitan jump Team RWBY, and epic fights ensue. Yang gets knocked into the abyss. Ruby is next to follow. Was it Ruby or was it Blake next? I think it was RWBY, Blake, then Weiss.
Also, Neapolitan fell in, right?
Yes, she did.
So Redemption our next season.
Maybe. Who knows? And then Jean and Penny and Weiss do a 3v1 fight against Cinder. Cinder knocks Weiss into the abyss. Bangs up both Jean and Penny and forces Jean to kill Penny. And it actually has a very sad and emotional scene of this empty void and Penny gifting Winter the maiden powers, and that was actually kind of sad, not gonna lie. It was very heartfelt touching there.
It just healed Penny. That was dumb.
Yeah, well,
You take too long. You have like, all right, I'll carry you through the portal and heal you.
I suppose maybe the thing about that is that like you remember how in Volume 6 where was it Volume 6? Oh, it was Volume 5. I'm sorry, Volume 5 where Weiss gets speared by Cinder, and then Jean is there for basically in the entire fight healing her.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like Penny had a point that like healing a grievous wound like that would take forever, and with Weiss basically being knocked into the abyss as well, like you had no other option of.
It's like oh my god, like if I like give my power to Winter, she's far away, so that way Cinder can't get it. But then Winter just shows up here, so it's like you could have just healed Penny, and Penny could have whooped her ass.
Maybe.
I guess they're like, let me give it to Winter because she's like actually trained for this shit, like a professional, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like Penny didn't know what the fuck she was doing, but like Penny's like a robot with like fighting programming, so she knows how to fight. I don't know. They just kind of nerfed her.
Yeah. Or maybe because she's not used to a human body now.
It's like why is all the like maiden powers going to the characters I don't really give a fuck about?
I
Penny's
like
dead. Cool. Well, Winter is fine, but she doesn't feel like one of the main characters. She's just kind of like a side character, and like same with like Yang's mom, or it's like they're just kind of like side characters. And it's like Penny kind of felt like a main character.
Well, when
that I care about, it was like, oh, Winter, okay.
Well, when Penny was on Suicide Bot mode, she even told RWBY like, "Hey, you should probably kill me, and I'll make sure you get the Winter maiden powers." And then that's actually a fair point because like, last person in her thoughts will most likely be RWBY, but like since RWBY's now in the fucking God knows where, probably they dead for all they know. The only person she could logically think of is Winter, and Winter is far fuck away to not be chased after.
One thing that kind of annoyed me. It kind of annoyed me. I was thinking like John was gonna be the first male maiden, and that's what it was like setting up. But no, it's Winter. Like, why?
Well, the thing is that they established that back in Volume 3, where like it's like boys can't be maidens.
Yeah, but I know it could have been like a cool twist, and like John's character arc. Now he's important. Like, basically, he's like what kind of like what Pyrrha said he could be like, because Pyrrha was gonna be a maiden.
Yeah.
So it was like with training, he became as good as Pyrrha.
Yeah, something like that, or like be like a retainer for for like a 5-minute power boost. Then it leaves his body for a female host, like something like he goes Super Saiyan for like 5 seconds and then does something cool for 5 seconds and then like it goes to a proper host or something like that. You know,
technically it's not random to give it to Winter, but like she wasn't there with them and just like, oh, Winter just has it now. Okay.
Well, the thing about that is that it's always the last person in your thoughts that gets the powers. If no one is in your thoughts in your final moments, then it goes to somebody random in the world. There's no
Yeah,
like,
no, but like, why didn't it go? Like, Ruby was like fucking struggling. Why not give it to Ruby?
well, because she's in the abyss, or
Well, that was
dead
like
possibly.
moments before, like whoever was fighting Cinder at the moment, like give it to them.
Weiss.
I guess.
Was that Weiss? I think
like
Weiss
Blake
got.
or Weiss.
I think it was either. Yeah, no, because Weiss was the last person on Team Ruby to like not be knocked into the abyss. So I think. I don't know if it was just when she got. No, I think Winter was the better option because like I'm gonna give it to Weiss. Oh wait, Weiss just.
Like, I get it. She's the best option. She's trained for it. You know, her name's fucking Winter,
Well,
whatnot.
no,
but it's
it's
just
not-
like I have no attachment to her really.
Well, they were together for like a long time, like, well, mostly off screen. That's the
Like,
issue.
yeah, it's like I don't know. Like Penny was random. She got the powers random, and she's like one of the main characters. It's just like it's just like another thing that makes me like I just don't care about this whole maiden stuff because they nerf their powers and then it just gets given to like characters I don't really care about who are important but like side character important. Like where's Yang's mom?
You know,
She's not that important. She's just out there somewhere.
Yeah, see, it's funny you mentioned like a whole side character issue here, and we'll go talk about that like later because when I was looking, because I'm on the RWBY wiki of Volume 8 overall, right?
Mhm.
And and you know how like I like go into the comments of these things to see like what we can do for like opinions and like discussions for that and whatnot. Literally one of the top comics was nothing but hate in regards to this season in terms of like the side story or not side characters getting so much more light than the actual main characters.
Like it's not the fact that they got more light. Like, I don't mind the characters. It's just like I feel like important things like objects or powers should be given to like more of the main characters, and the side characters are just like supporting. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. Like I don't really consider Winter as like one of the main characters. She's just kind of like one of the side characters. She doesn't get that much screen time, and I just don't really care. Like she doesn't seem that important to the story.
Right.
Like Penny kind of has is one of their like basically you got side characters and you got like friends the Team Ruby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it made sense that she got the powers. Just kind of like, oh, okay. Why didn't she get the powers before? Why even give Penny the powers if you're just gonna kill her off to give it to Winter, who was already trained to get the powers?
Not just kill her off, but kill her off twice in the
They're not even
and
just kill her off. They turned her human, then actually killed her off.
They killed her off back in Volume 3, and they killed her off twice in the matter of like one episode.
It's like, yeah, it's sad. It's like, oh, a robot. She like died as a robot, but they were able to bring her back. It was like, no, we're gonna turn her into a real girl, and then we're gonna have Jean stab her to death.
Yep, a lot.
It's like, oh, cool.
Yep, a lot of people had issues with that as well. Like we did all that work and effort to make her a real girl and to make sure she doesn't die, and then she dies anyways.
Then like they had John stab her. She was already like dying. Couldn't they just have like, it's okay, Jean, just let me die. I choose this. Not, yo, Jean, kill me. That blood's on John's hands. They could have done like, like that Spider-Man game. I've never played it, but like where he's like he could heal Aunt May, and then she's like, nah.
Yes,
Don't do it.
Yes, yeah, I know.
Do that. He's like, yo, Jean, you can heal me. It'll just take long, and I'm okay with dying. Just let me pass.
Yeah, that scene.
It's just like he stabbed her. How's Ruby gonna feel about that? Ruby was put in the same position where Penny was like, yo, kill me. And Ruby's like, no, we found another way. And they found another way. Jean, he just went for it.
Well, in fairness, they didn't have Cinder like gunning for them during that scene with Ruby and Penny before.
And hey, here's an idea: toss her into the abyss.
You know what?
I don't.
That probably could have been a better option. Not gonna lie.
because we don't. Well, I guess that's death, and we don't know if she if they did fall into a void and cease to exist, would the power still pass on to someone, or would it just be gone?
I don't know how to answer that. That is
Because
actually
they're like in some like pocket universe, like some other realm, not even in Remnant. They're like an in-between world. Like if hypothetically the void did kill someone, instead of putting them into like Fantasy Island or whatever, the powers aren't in Remnant anymore. Heck, how did it even go back? Like, I guess the doors were open. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, maybe make Jean a maiden or something. Like, yeah, that's stupid, but like, you give John something for John to do, like his character growth. I don't care about Winter's character growth. She's just general lady.
Alright. But yes,
Like, yeah.
Jean kills Penny. He's got so much trauma on his hands already. Kira's death to this now, and now.
Penny can summon fucking knives. Why didn't Penny stab herself in Minecraft?
That's a good question.
It's like, no, like John, you do it. I'm squeamish. Make it quick.
Maybe I think it's just like I said, it's bad writing once you get to a certain point with RWBY. And
Like, I don't know if it's necessarily bad or anything. Because again, it makes sense. Winter becomes the maiden because she was trading for it. She's friends with Penny. Penny didn't feel like she earned it, so like I'm gonna give it to like the rightful person who was trading for it, my friend. But like, it's just like, I don't know. They killed Penny too soon.
Yes, they did. And so after that, Winter does become the Winter Maiden, and she is like canonically the only second person named Winter to become the Winter Maiden, as far as we know.
Another person named Winter who was the Winter Maiden?
Yeah, the original one.
Bullshit.
Yeah, the original 4 maidens were named Spring, Summer, Fall, and Winter.
Ozpin just like name brand synergies. Like, all right, I'm gonna possess someone who's also named Oscar. Okay, great. There won't be confusion now.
I wish that worked like that, because then I wouldn't have issues with like the maidens have certain powers.
Like Cinder Falls, the Fall Maiden.
Well, it makes sense with that, but yes. But the thing about that is that the maiden powers aren't consistent to their respective brand, their respective season. Fuck. Raven is the Summer Maiden, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet she has ice powers, or uses ice magic against Cinder.
Like Winter and July, you know.
How often do you see that happening logically?
Well, like not logically, but it's like, oh, it's Winter in July, like that phrase or whatever.
Yeah, and then it's summer in December, and then are we gonna see Winter have fire powers? Maybe, but I don't.
I mean, some places don't have snow.
Well, that's true, but like you know it's going to be like based on the actual season
Yeah,
or at least it should.
Again, like, I feel like I've mentioned this like each time. It should have been streamlined of what the MacGuffins are. Because first you set up the maidens, then you set up Silver Eyes. Now we're finding relics. It's just like,
Yeah.
I mean, which was more important? Like, which is the main thing in the show? Like, what's more important? Like, because the maidens don't feel important at all. Like, why does Cinder want all the maiden powers? Is that even work in the rules? Can someone have all the maiden powers, like all 4 elements?
That is actually an interesting question. It's never been stated.
Cinder seems to think that's possible. I guess she has her magic grim arm where she can suck the maiden powers out of them. And then again, it's like she stabbed Penny and was probably sucking. She should have half of Penny's powers, like she did the Fall Maiden.
So how it's explained is like You right. She should at some point, or maybe she didn't suck enough. I don't know.
Maybe she would stop too soon, but you think like she's been like fighting tooth and nail to get fucking Penny and just maidens in general, that she would just be like suck as quick as possible.
Something.
I don't know.
Yes. So yes, Winter becomes the new Winter Maiden. She's in the middle of a fight with a recently broken out Ironwood who killed Jacques Schnee with a BFG gun that he for some reason has, and is in a fight with Winter where he's basically winning up until she receives the Maiden powers, and then reverse Uno's that same beam that annihilates both that Jacques and his prison cell, and he somehow survives that. I don't fucking know. And she joins in on the fight to beat the shit out of Cinder, and witnesses Cinder knocking Weiss into the abyss, but all the like the portals and pathways are collapsing now, and so Winter swears revenge on Cinder and leaves with Jean. Don't know why she didn't think to, like, grab Jean while she's flying away with him to make sure gather there as fast as they can, right?
Mm-hmm.
And instead, Jean doesn't make it, and so he also falls into the abyss as well.
He wasn't fast enough.
Wasn't fast enough. I don't get.
Winter didn't know him well enough to care.
Right. It's just amazing. That's why she should just like grab him, or just.
She probably does. Has she ever even interacted with Jean? She probably doesn't even know who the fuck he is. Like, yeah, I see you hanging out with my sister. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, no, they don't really like know each other per se. Like they know of each other, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Wait, are you that weird boy who was hitting on my sister? She was kept talking about. Oh yeah, I'm not into her anymore.
All right, and so basically, just about everyone that is important has escaped to Vacuo and are heading to Shade Academy. Then we get to an end credit scene where it's Ruby's scythe is on a beach of some kind of like fantasy forest that looks nothing like anything we've seen in Remnant before. So we're going to be more or less exploring an alternate reality to Remnant in Volume 9.
Kind of weird. Like, I don't know. It's like, is this just gonna be like a filler season? Like, who cares about this fantasy island?
They sort of hinted at it earlier in Volume 8, where they talked about that one girl, basically Alice in Wonderlanding herself to another plane of existence.
Yeah.
But
so is that fairy tale true now?
So we'll find out in Volume 8. Well, I'm sorry, in Volume 9. But I will say there are like two things I'm expecting to see in Volume 9. Mostly with Weiss being a lot more animated than usual, because I have seen clips of Weiss in Volume 9, and that was one of the major things that stuck out to a lot of people who have watched that season. Mm-hmm. And,
Oh, like the last season's next time, right?
Yep. Or the
damn.
quote-unquote last season. And then, then a more animated Weiss, then a racist Ruby.
What?
So, okay, give me a second because there's a train passing.
Can't believe Ruby's canceled. Both ways.
So like, how you saw in Volume 8 Ruby at her lowest moment on the staircase and everything? Imagine that turned up to 11.
Oh, we got Doomer Ruby.
Basically. Volume 9 as a whole is really good IMO. Yes, that is true. So, like, so Blue Lady couldn't make it in today because of her sleep schedule, but, before, she's actually told me about how Ruby felt like it was finally starting to get good, genuinely good again, in Volume 9, but that's when it kind of got canceled with Rooster Teeth going under. So as soon as it was starting getting good again, and as soon as people started liking it again, it gets canceled. But yeah, that's the meme of it, where
well, at least it got canceled after a season that explains they're alive and on an island. If it ended at this season where they just fall into a fucking abyss, that would be so fucked up.
that would Salem wins. Main characters are dead. Well, that's all, folks.
Everyone from Mantle and Atlas are gonna die in a fucking desert. Everything's on fire.
Stitch, if you can, if you could possibly delete that comic before Dakota sees it.
Nah, I see the comic, but like I assume
damn it.
they fell in the void. There's gonna be like an arc with fucking Neo.
Basically.
It's I was already kind of like guessing that. It's not really a spoil. You don't need to tell me what happens. Like, yeah, it's definitely she's gonna be in it. They're like stuck on an island with her. Is she gonna keep trying to kill RWBY, or is she just gonna be like, yeah, let's work together?
Alright.
We're probably gonna see her like next to like Yang again and see her like, oh damn, Neo is short as fuck. Or maybe Yang's just tall. I don't know.
It's alright, Stitch. You're fine. Alright, so yeah, don't you remember Volume 2 when?
Yeah, they were next to each other, and I was like, "Damn, Neo's short."
Yeah,
but it's been so long since like Neo's been next to someone tall. I guess Cinder's taller than her, but I just haven't noticed. But like, I don't know, see her next to Yang again. I'm like, God damn,
short queen.
My God, she's Chambi height.
Oh my God. Actually, I think Neo is actually canonically like 4 foot something.
She has 4 feet.
Alright. So now let's talk about the developments. So reading what.
Unrelated? Do you ever see the meme where the guy's like, I may be like 4 feet, like really short, or that's because God put like several inches somewhere else. And then it cuts to the shower. He's like, "Why is my nipple so long?"
I've seen that. I have actually seen that. Canonically the shortest character and still walks over everybody she fights. Most people she fights, because Maria Sue held her own against Neapolitan for some fucking reason.
I mean, she's the Grim Reaper, Jambi.
Oh my God.
She was piloting a mech.
Oh, I do like how they did have that alien reference in there. Like, stay away from her, you bitch, and she gets cut off right there.
You'll probably enjoy the next season because she's not on the island with them.
Fair. But there is like a bit of like a spin-off thing with RWBY.
Maria gets a spin-off? Oh
no. There is a spin-off thing in during RWBY Volume 9 that kind of helps set up what they plan on doing going forward with going to possible Volume 10, 11, and 12. Oh, it's also where I found out that they gender bent Wendy from Wizard of Oz.
Pan?
No. Is it Peter Pan, or am I thinking of...
Peter Pan and Wendy.
No, I'm thinking of Dorothy. Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, where they gender bent...
Is he like Dorian now?
It's Theodore.
One thing that's kind of like me thinking again is like, what was the season where they were with like the Lionheart guy and like the Faunus? What season was that?
That is Volume 5.
Like, compared to like Volume 3 and these last 2 volumes, like there's so much fucking destruction Salem caused that middle bit with like Lionheart, like 5, was just like, okay, we're gonna sneak in the back door, we're gonna put bombs everywhere, and then you're just gonna immediately stop. There's like, why were the other 2 kingdoms like so fucking violent? Just, and then that one's just like, okay, it's so really small scale. It's just kind of funny to me.
My theory on that is that because, you know, Osmond was originally the King of Vale, I thought it would be, like, a little bit more personal for Salem to, like, destroy that kingdom for her, at least. And then...
I guess it was small scale because, like, they had a man on the inside, Lionheart, who was just gonna, like, unlock the door for him.
Yeah, and then after that, it was
So, like,
gonna try...
I guess... But, like, I don't know. It's just, like, the other two kingdoms are, like, so fucking violent and chaos everywhere. It's just kind of, like... But then that middle season is just, like, okay, we're just gonna, like, put a couple bombs, and we're gonna, like, steal the thing, and we're gonna get out. And just, like, that's it.
And
I guess Grimm would have came in if they set off bombs, but still, compared to the other school attacks, I don't know. It was kind of like very small scale, in my opinion.
But you're also right. All the headmasters are supposed to be Wizard of Oz characters. More so the Cabal, or like the quote-unquote Illuminati of Osmond's inner circles, or Wizard of Oz characters. Okay. So anyways, onto the development of the RWBY Volume 8. On October 3rd, 2019, a month before Volume 7 began airing, the crew announced that writing for Volume 8 had already begun. So that's, that sounds like crunch to me, to start, writing for the next volume just as this, recent, current one is airing. That's, a little icky sounding to me. Early in planning stage, the events of Volume 7 and 8 were going to happen in just one volume, and didn't last long, as the second half was pushed back into Volume 8 before the first writer's room of the outlining stage of Volume 7. So basically, they did the whole make one season but separate it into 2 seasons. I don't know how I feel about that.
See that. Yeah, like the last season before this one, like 7.
Yeah.
I could totally see that.
During the... Oh, go ahead.
They probably didn't get pay them as much.
Probably.
But, like, I guess that made sense because, like, the settings are the same. Might as well do them back to back.
And, like, they only take it, like, because, like, between, like, 6 and 7, that takes place, like, within a time span of, like, a month or 2, right? But going into 7 and 8, that takes place in a time span of, like, a day or 2.
How many more kingdoms do we have to visit?
1.
2 relics? 1? Okay, so we just need, like, 1 kingdom to get the last relic and then go back to Beacon and get the one there?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
During the Live from Remnant Volume 7 hype stream on November 1st, 2019, Miles Luna announced that they had completed the first script for Volume 8 and were about to start the storyboards. Concept art and development was well underway by the end of November 2019, so that explains why that art I sent you was from 2020 when Volume 8 came out in 2020, is because the art was basically started in late 2019 and probably came out early 2020.
You never had a ponytail.
Voice recording sessions for key characters began on February 4th, 2020. Animation for Volume 8 had started in March of 2020. The writing process of Volume 8 was completed on April 8th, 2020. Jesus Christ. They're doing this within time spans of 1 month each. Normally this should take at least 3 months individually. That's crunch right there. That's crunch.
3 months for what? Each episode?
No, 3 months for like each development process, like voice recording sessions, editing, animation, and then writing.
Like 1 month each?
No, oh yeah, they're doing 1 month after another.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then on May 21st, 2020, Rooster Teeth Productions and Full Sail University announced a collaboration for a production of Volume 8. Full Sail University students and... Oh no, this is where we're going. So when we get into the fall Rooster Teeth, we're going to probably revisit this tidbit again. because this is where we get into the unpaid interns.
Mhm.
So on May 21st, 2020, Rooster Teeth Production and Full Sail University announced a collaboration for the production of Volume 8. A Full Sail University students and graduates are given exclusive opportunities to design a Grimm that will be featured in Volume 8. The RWBY animation team would select the top 5 submissions for Rooster Teeth fans to vote on, and with the contest ending on June 21st, and voting starting on July 7th and ending on July 12th. On July 13th, a community announcement was made by Rooster Teeth in which it was felt that the voting and response to contestants online violated the code of conduct upheld by the community and staff. For this reason, they closed the voting and instead will select a winner via a panel of judges from the show. Huh. Interesting. Wonder what was violated. July 18th, it was announced that the Sulfurfish Grimm design by... What was the Sulfurfish Grimm? Sulfurfish Grimm. What does that look like?
Is it the
Oh!
whale?
No, it's... You know those little skittering things that are, like, in the background?
I mean, like the centipede things?
No, they look like little scorpion thingies, little spider thingies. Like, they were, like, so barely noticeable. But yeah, they were tiny little skittery critters. That one, and they were hardly used. And it was announced that the Sulfurfish by Landon Ellis was the winner of the contest. With the Grimm set to appear in Volume 8, the Grimm would later make a cameo debut in War, and that's basically, you know, that war scene between the Atlas military and all the Grimm on the ground, and then you did like all that little overview shot with the camera going from like the frontline Grimm to the backline Grimm, and you saw all those little skittery little critters. That was the Sulfurfish. A clip from the volume was revealed during the Comic-Con at-home Rooster Teeth panel on July 25th, 2020. According to Barbara Dunkelman, the theme of the volume story is distrust. I think that was Volume 7, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Volume 7 was distrust. Volume 8 feels like sacrifice to me.
Yeah, a lot of characters died this season.
On September 7th, 2020, more sneak peek clips were released through the Mark AR app at the pre-RTX event in Dallas, Texas. The teaser trailer for the volume was released on September 16, 2020 as part of the RTX at-home RWBY panel. It was revealed that the volume will premiere on November 7th, 2020, and will run for 14 episodes. Volumes 8 and 9 were being created together. That's not good sounding. Volumes 8 and 9 were being created together and are unofficially called a single volume production-wise with how things are flowed together.
They did the Netflix thing where they greenlit one long season, split it into multiple, and they just only pay the people like for one season.
Honestly, if that was said about Volume 7 and 8, I would believe that. But how Volume 9 goes, from what I've seen, it doesn't seem that way. So that's a weird...
Like, you would think it would be like 7 and 8 because they use the same like assets. You know what I mean? Like buildings, locations, character models.
And story-wise and narrative.
9 is going to be like all new stuff from scratch.
Yeah, so I wonder how that ebbs and flows together when you went from... Because 7 and 8 ebbs and flows together, because it's literally the same settings, the same models, the same narrative direction and everything, but like Volume 9, when we get to Volume 9, it's going to basically be a whole other ballpark.
Like mega crunch, because all that stuff, assets they have to like make from scratch. They got to do a whole island.
Yeah.
And a desert.
Yeah. And yeah, like you mentioned, it is crunch because they even said this is happening at the same time. As the production of volumes 8 and 9 were proved to be the most challenging season to write in the series. Yeah, no shit, because you're doing it at the same time. In the earlier drafts the episode Divide was originally intended to focus more on Cinder's backstory. This direction was changed, and most flashback sequences involving Cinder's upbringing were moved to midnight. In order to start the volume with a better pace, the brief tease of a young Cinder scrubbing the floor is a leftover of this. Okay. While planning Volume 8, there were originally going to be more scenes between Crow, Bronwyn, and Robin Hill. However, their screen time had to be scaled back due to how much needed to happen during the volume. According to Miles Luna, Crow and Robin's plotline in the volume received the most cuts out of anything else in it. However, he is glad that even with the limited screen time they had, they still had the impact that they wanted. Yeah, I guess, but like, I don't know. During the development, the River of Grim Liquid was originally going to be much bigger part of the story before being scaled back. God damn it!
Yeah, I kind of felt like yeah, I guess the river got used to like shut up and like knock some towers down, but it's just kind of like, oh my god, this is something introduced and they didn't do anything about it.
The scene at
Too much with it.
Yeah. Which is just sad, because, like, I'm just looking at all these trimmings from how much got cut on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
The scene at the Happy Huntresses camp in Refuge was originally intended to set up many plot elements from this that were later cut, such as the Pillar of Grim mini-boss that was going to be fought by the heroes. Nora overcharging her semblance was an early idea in development, and it was originally going to happen at a power plant with an electrified security fence. The initial idea behind it came from Carrie Shawcross looking at Reddit and coming across an image of a person who had been scarred by lightning and thought that kind of scarring would fit great with Nora. That's fair, because when you do get struck by lightning, and if you survive, feel bad for you if you do. Electrical
That's
charge.
cool. They get like super speed. It's fine.
The electrical charge will basically scar your body in that same pattern that you see Nora have after she overcharges herself.
She's supposed to be immune to electricity. I don't understand. Is it just like too much?
I think she like is overcharging herself, so it just. And you do see her like aura break after she finishes using her semblance, so like it puts a strain on her body, and which you do see that being affecting her because she's like in bed for like the rest of the season, more or less.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how the last season was like Nora's like, I want to hook up with you, Ren, and like, okay, we kiss, and then this season's like, you know what? I think I need space, Ren.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. I get it. Like, she wants to be independent, but she's just always with him like a little duckling. But like, I don't know, just like everybody's like, I want to be with you, Ren. You know what? Never mind, Ren.
And you know what? And on top of that, in the same season, they kind of even retconned her backstory a little bit. Like, before she was like an orphan girl on the streets, back in Volume 4. But here, she was apparently abandoned by her mother when the Grimm attacked her in Ren's village. And then Ren
Her mom probably died by the Grimm, so she's technically probably orphaned.
Yeah, but this was supposed to be like at the same time when the Grimm attack happened.
Alright. Well, maybe her mom was just kind of abusive.
Maybe, but I don't know. They never really clarified that or like made that notable within Volume 4. Because in Volume 4, they just made it seem like Nora was an orphan girl on the streets.
Nah, it turned out she just had a bad mom.
I guess. In early drafts of Ren's outburst in Fault, he also criticizes John for attacking Cinder so recklessly back in Volume 5. It was cut because the writers felt that it was one sting too many. The scene with Yang's group in the outpost during the same episode was rewritten during the animatic stage, which does not happen that often in the production process. Eddie Rivas stated that he believes it was due to reshuffling Ren's arc so he could have a more natural feeling character progression in War. there were also many elements that were cut or added that changed the scene dramatically. There was also going to be more references to the reasoning that caused Ruby and Yang's groups to split off at the start of the volume. I would honestly would have appreciated more reasoning for why the group split up, other than differing opinions that like are both good and right in their own way, but proved an unnecessary conflict amongst themselves, in my opinion.
Yeah, they could have just split up without the conflict. Like, all right, we'll protect Mantle while you go get the tower up.
Exactly.
Because they're literally like two freaking Huntsman teams. Like, there's so many characters. You can split up. It's fine.
Exactly. Miles Luna outlined that they wanted to use Maria and Pietro in this volume. Since they knew that they wouldn't get a lot of screen time, they decided to give them a big amount to Shine and Amity, so that they were not relegated to the background as support characters that ultimately don't contribute to the overall plot.
Fair. Like, it would be weird if they just kind of faded in the background. Just give them like one little thing to do to explain why they fade into the background.
Yeah.
So like, that's fine.
When planning which types of Grimm to bring back in Battle of Atlas for the opening scene of War, the Deathstalker was one of the Grimm considered and very nearly made an appearance. Aww. They were cut because creating and rigging new models for them would have been too time consuming for a large creature that would barely be used in the volume. Oh, that's a shame. Eddie Rivas explained that having the Aesops pick up Yang's group in Midnight solved a lot of problems they were having with planning the volume and figuring out how they were going to eventually get to the same place as everyone else. Gary Shacruz outlined how this decision helped get the Aesops back to the military base, got Yang's group back in Atlas, gave more opportunities to show Winter and Harriet's character arcs, and primed Ren for his development with his semblance, because this one development of semblance, that's actually something I need to talk about real quick, because I've been talking about this about RWBY semblance for a hot minute, ever since like I think volume 2, I think, since we started doing RWBY Tuesdays. But anyways, because of this, one choice planning for the volume became much easier. Okay. So here's the thing, is that apparently semblances do have like evolutionary developments where they can improve upon over a course of time, it seems. And you see this with both Ruby and Ren. Ren, I believe, because his is a lot more emotionally fixated on. The thing about Ruby is that I don't believe it works the way it should. Here's the problem with that. Here's why I say that. It's because when you get initially introduced to Ruby and her semblance, it's just super speed, right? And the creative rose petals that fly around her are just like aesthetic particle effects. And then I talked about before how the first attempt at DC Comics making a RWBY comic ruined. They tried retconning her semblance into being super speed and teleportation. And when I did my first review on that particular issue and that opening page of introducing RWBY, I went ham on that retcon because it was so unnecessary. It didn't make any sense, and you never see RWBY teleporting anywhere at all. Maybe she's so fast that it looks like teleporting, but she never teleports at all. So then Volume 8 introduces another retcon where she has the Flash super speed, where she is so super fast that when she's in that super speed mode, she vibrates her particles enough that she can't not be physically touched and shit, right? Here's the issue with that. In Volume 3, she's using her super speed to try to get away from Mercury, and she immediately gets kicked in the gut by him. And then you see it in Volume 7 when they're fighting the Aesops, and they're in that enclosed space, and RWBY uses her super speed to break through that giant metal heavy door. So
Penny explained it. I thought she explained it that she's kind of like she can just carry people.
no, she explained. Well, she explains it like. Let me find a video clip of it real quick, because it still bugs me how it was retconned and how they try introducing it. So let me find
Like,
out.
I feel like they explained it as like she could turn into like basically the rose petal particles, and then she like turns back into a person, and she can like turn other people into rose petals and super fast.
RWBY semblance explained. And well, here's the thing about the explanation given by Penny is that what I'm saying too is also debunked as well. It's like how
She has split into two before, hasn't she?
well, yes, but here's the thing about that is that
at an extreme velocity from one point to
Cause like her power is that she can basically like turn herself into like super fast particles in the form of like rose petals.
yeah, but here's the thing about that is that that should not be physically interacted with when it comes to like, you know, her trying to like that time in volume 3 where she tries to escape from Mercury, but she immediately gets punted in the gut, and that kind
But
of
she's still learning.
yeah. But then she goes into volume 7 and she breaks through a fucking giant iron door.
at an extreme velocity from one point to another by breaking herself down to her molecular component.
Yeah, she moves at a high, fast enough frequency where she breaks her breaks herself down to on the molecular level, and then is able to do so with other people that she is touching, which you do kind of see in Volume 4 when her and Nora become like pink and red rose petals.
Thus negating her mass.
Yeah, whoever was probably writing the DC comic probably got like news about like that and probably misinterpreted it.
Okay, actually, hold on. We're actually gonna react to this together. I'll screen share this with you.
How long is it?
It's very short. It's like less than a minute.
Uh,
And this is actually the video I actually saw that actually both explained RWBY's semblance, but also negated how inconsistent it is. Alright.
RWBY is capable of traveling at an extreme velocity from one point to another by breaking herself down to her molecular components, thus negating her mass. Thus negating her mass.
Then you trained us.
Thus negating her mass, theoretically making it possible for her to transport all of us in the same way.
What?
You can use your semblance on all of us.
RWBY already knew this too, by the way. RWBY already knew this.
What?
I've seen other speed semblances before. That was different. I think there's more going on than you think.
What?
Exactly.
I think Penny just worded it weird and confused her.
But like even then she knew this. Like, oh
yeah, it's like she knew how her power works. Like she knows how to use her powers, but she doesn't like know how to put it to words. She's not that smart.
they overly confuse it. They overly
They just
word
wanted to
it.
explain. I think they just wanted a can reason to explain why there's rose petals, and you're just not supposed to think about it too hard.
No one was asking that though. She has super speed, and so she just
Why
has the.
why did she turn into rose petals?
Because originally that was just for the aesthetic purpose. That was just for funsies.
Well, now it has like a reason.
It doesn't need a reason. That's like
She turns into super fast rose petals, but you can't hit them if she's like caught off guard.
that's the thing. It's so inconsistent.
She can't phase through walls, so like you can like if you smack the rose petals, it'll probably hurt.
But that's the thing. That's supposed to be exactly what it is. It's like, because it has no mass, because it goes through molecules and shit. It's literally the flash vibration super speed. Basically, is basically what they're trying to say.
Yeah, but they never said she could phase through walls. She just turns herself into lighter particles so she can go faster.
But she can. Oh my god, it's not
But they're
that.
still like, I don't know.
At the same time, like when it just makes no sense. Like, oh yeah, the reason you do this is because of this. So like, it's like, but they make it so like they're trying to explain that this is a new rule of thumb when it was firmly established since day one. And on top of this is probably also one of the reasons why they tried retconning it to be teleportation back in the DC comic adaptation, which did not work so well because it's not teleportation.
Want to see me go that rock? Want to see me do it again?
They should have just kept that at super speed. You move so fast that like no one can see you. Just say that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. All right. So what else? So got my little rant tangent over about the evolution of semblances being established in the weirdest way possible. Also I wanted to Pietro was I read that part. When planning which types of Grimm, Battle Balance, I already did that part. Aesop's did that part. Originally we were not planning on making a horror episode in this volume. The episode Dark was limited to one location, mostly out of the necessity of for the sake of production costs, and while discussing how to make the episode interesting, it was decided that bringing in a trapped in a big house with their brand new scary Hound Grimm would be pretty cool, which makes sense. It does seem like more of a little bit of a horror trope that they did there.
Mm-hmm.
A full trailer was released on October 14th, 2020. Then, on December 4th, 2020, it was announced that due to remote production issues resulting from COVID-19, the season would have a longer than average mid-break, returning February 6th instead of January 3rd, 2021. Yo. What's up, bro? Welcome in. The YouTube chatter. Right now, we're just yapping about RWBY Volume 8, and we're actually kind of close towards the end of it. So we'll still have the VOD if you ever want to read or watch us yap and go crazy about this stuff. And then following the airing of the first volume of Volume 8, a sneak peek of the second half of the release on December 25th, 2020, as part of the partnership with Rooster Teeth and HBO Max. Yeah, because they were bought up by Warner Brothers, and they were probably made RWBY 8 HBO Max exclusive. An official mid-season trailer was released on January 23rd, 2021. On February 7th, 2021, Carrie Cruz announced that due to severe winter storm wreaking havoc in Texas. Oh, I remember this too. I remember when there was that crazy winter storm that happened a few years ago that even caused me to be housed by my work, so I didn't have to miss work the next couple days at a hotel just down the road. Yeah, wreaking havoc in Texas at the time. The release of the 10th episode of the volume would be delayed by a week to February 27th to focus on the production of the team's safety. Poop emoji in chat. Sam Goon, who's your favorite RWBY character while you're here? According to Eddie Rivas, Volume 8 as a whole was completed on March 26, 2021. Okay, go through trivia real quick. The main theme of Volume 8 is distrust and risk. I don't think distrust is a theme. I think it's sacrifice and risk. The title of every episode of Volume 8 was a single word, save for the final episode. During the Volume 8 commentary, which we never got to watch the behind-the-scenes special features this time around, I'll probably have to watch that by myself for future purposes. Carrie Cruz revealed that for the longest time before Volume 1, Huey and Miles Luna and Montiome thought that the events of Volume 8 were going to happen in Volume 3. Okay, how though? Miles describes them as being naive, ambitious. The scene where Salem and Sinner get the what they need from Atlas and walk right past Ironwood without giving him the time of day was planned before Volume 1 started airing. That's an interesting thing to plan so far ahead of time. This is the first volume to include content warnings before an episode, specifically before Ultimatum, where they end the final word. This is the longest volume in terms of runtime. It was a total of 4 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds. On an episode of Stay Zen, Eddie Rivas said that in an early Volume 8 outline, Ruby and May would have gone to Monstra. What's Monstra?
Is it the whale?
Yes, it's the whale.
Yeah, because the whale's a reference to Monstro from Pinocchio.
But why would Ruby and May go to the whale? That makes no sense.
Maybe they wanted everyone to fight Salem and the whale, but then they just made it like Yang's group
I
to
guess.
save Oscar.
Carrie Cruz revealed in the commentary for Volume 8 that they have an entire spreadsheet showing the timeline of events that happened in the volume, which helped them plan to where to place certain scenes. One of these examples would be when exactly the sun would rise in Ultimatum. At different points in the volume, the episode directors asked how brutal they could make certain moments. Which I will give them that, especially with all the content warnings that they had to do at that point, since a lot of their stuff was pretty dark and graphic for this volume, not gonna lie. The main menu of the Volume 8 Blu-ray release plays Trust Love, the opening volume of Volume 7, instead of this volume's own opening for Every Life, which I noticed that too. And I actually have to go back to my Volume 7 Blu-ray disc and see if they play the exact same theme or not. Because that's just weird of why they use the Volume 7 theme and not the Volume 8 theme. The first 2 episodes of the Grimm campaign, the mission, action time, are included as special features on Volume 8 Blu-ray. Oh, I gotta see that then. But what's the Grimm campaign? Like a tabletop game? Oh, fuck off ads. The Grimm campaign is an American web series in which members of the cast play a RWBY-themed Dungeons and Dragons game. Ooh. First, see, if they did a RWBY-themed Dungeons and Dragons or tabletop game, I would so buy into that.
I'm sure someone's made like an indie version where you just like play it.
Probably, but like, you know, when you have like the official like rules and stuff, like you determine like which is better. Volume 8 is the final volume in the series to feature Jeff Williams in a composer role due to his retirement during Volume 9's production. Alex Abraham also did not compose for Volume 9, however, he was not specified whether he is retiring completely from the series. Wow, Jeff Williams retired during Volume 9, or just before that. How old is he? Oh, he's 56. So then who did the... Yeah, now I can't wait to see the Volume 9 stuff, because I'm curious of who did all the composition music for Volume 9 then. But that's a shame that he didn't do it. Didn't do Volume 9's music. Alright, and now we go into the comment section, which, Jesus Christ, this is a cesspool. Because this is where a lot of people get a little and this was around the time where a lot of people were very vocal about certain artistic directions for RWBY. And let's see if I can find any noticeable ones. Well, here's one of the more cesspool ones. Like, I think Rooster Teeth is the stupid company who run my previous precious Team RWBY. So I think these are more garbage than this and this. P.S. TBC is better than stupid RWBY series by Arcade, not Shaft, because they succeeded with Madoka Magica and RWBY Ice Queendom, and those RT suckers. See all these pages to understand now. And then I'm like, oh, what is TBC? I don't know what TBC is. And then you got another one from the year prior where, let's see if I can, hopefully this is like not something I have to like bleep myself on. Shame on you, shame on all of you, shame on every one of you for this. Every waking moment down to the seconds of my life, I was forced to take the full brunt of your honesty and truth when it is actually the pettiness of all. What makes you believe Volume 8 is adverse to you? Do you care these people who gave this volume work so hard through? Okay, so this person is pretty much ranting about people who dislike Volume 8 for whatever reason. And he's like, go fuck yourselves. That's basically the gist of what he's saying. Do you care that Volume 6 to 8 have already improved? When the creators learned from their mistakes back then, do you care that this isn't just about Team RWBY, but the entire world when you're moaning about the three of them being stuck in the mansion just like Volume 5? Hint, they're not the focus here. Do you care about these people? Blah, 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 blah. Basically, he's just upset that people are upset about Volume 8. Like, you have your opinion, but like, yeah. And then you have this person actually have bullet point reasons for why they might dislike or like Volume 8. In my mind, this volume is just as much of a story about sacrifice as is the trust. Preach! There's more, honestly, preach. Now, if Dunkelman said that about Volume 7, okay, you got a point there, but like, this is more about sacrifice and risk than it is distrust. Hazel would give his own life in the ultimate act of redemption by turning on Salem. That's true. The heroes could only save the citizens of Atlas and Manta at the cost of both cities. True. They also had to sacrifice Penny's robotic body just to give her a new human one so she would survive the Watts' virus. True. This would be nothing for the cruelest twist of fate imaginable. However, as later on, Jean would have to reluctantly sacrifice Pyrrha himself so Cinder cannot get her maiden powers, costing the heroes another ally in the war against Salem. This is also true. Again, they killed off Penny a little too early again. Quite literally, they killed off Penny twice in a matter of one episode. Just a reminder. Vine also sacrifices his own life to save his friends by extension, all of Mantle from being destroyed by Ironwood's bomb, which didn't matter much, seeing as how Mantle would be destroyed anyway by Atlas crashing into it. Oops.
I mean, there were still people evacuating.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Cinder would sacrifice. So yeah, that one point like is fair to an extent, but like how you said, there were still people evacuating, so it's viable for why Vine sacrificed himself. Cinder would sacrifice Neo and Watts for the sake of her own plans by dumping the former in the void and leaving the latter to burn alive on Atlas, and well, it also crashed as well, which is also crashing into Mantle at the moment. And lastly, Ironwood would sacrifice his own morals as he lost more and more of himself to his own paranoia and ever-growing insanity, growing so far to be willing to put millions of lives on the line in his tragically misguided attempts to keep Atlas safe at any cost, which ultimately cost both his own life and the kingdom, regardless of his efforts. So yeah, that's why, in my honest to God opinion, with all these valid points, is that this is more about sacrifice and risk than distrust. So I'm not quite sure why the theme of this season is distrust. And then going down a little bit further, we get to good old blue cheese. And this is their honest opinion on the take on Volume 8. Honestly, after occasional rewatches and months of taking everything in, this volume actually gets better over time. Like, I hated it when it finished, but honestly, the volume as a whole wasn't even that bad. It's just those last 3 episodes really ruined everything. The main issue was how Team RWBY, our main characters, were quite literally sidelined to flesh out our 200 side characters. The only member who got at least a decent volume was Yang. Weiss was the most underutilized. She was the team's most useful asset, but they never capitalized on this. Blake did jack shit the entire volume. RWBY really should have had a bigger role this time around. It's so frustrating to see everyone with their game faces on, and she's the only one who we don't see pop off on anything.
Yeah, they really don't really do much with RWBY at all. And just in the show in general, she's just kind of like there, like, oh yeah, Ruby's a character.
Yes, and this is kind of one of the reasons where racist RWBY comes into play in Volume 9, where she has a justifiable crash out.
Yeah. Again, if only she had like something that made her special that's like relevant to the plot, like a maiden power.
Or those like special eyes or something.
Yeah, they should have been the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but I like reading like Blue Cheese comments every time when I find him on each of these articles. Like he makes sense and he's fair on both sides.
Hmm.
So what did you think of Volume 8 for yourself, Dakota?
I thought it was pretty good. Some stuff was a little weird, but it's just kind of nitpicky. Like I always complain about like Penny dying and stuff, but like overall it was alright. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
That's good. Now, let's see.
That Watts is dead, right?
Yes, I will say right now, both Ironwood and Watts are dead.
It's kind of funny, like with the Scorpion guy Tyrion, he's like the only one still alive, not including like Mercury and Cinder. He's gonna come back in his little spaceship with Mercury. He's like, "Well, everyone's fucking dead." Oh, that's funny.
You know, that's actually fair because I forgot both him and Mercury like left like ahead of time before Oscar.
We're not plot relevant. We'll be back.
Yeah, I completely forgot that they left like ahead of time before they got nuked.
Like of all characters, fucking Tyrion's still alive.
Yeah, so he's probably gonna make a appearance later, and hopefully in future seasons whenever Rooster Teeth decides to continue on, or if they're able to continue on with RWBY.
You know, like Salem's got to like hire new henchmen because just like I can't just do this with just fucking Tyrion. He's the crazy one. Like what else? He just kills people. I need like some brains or something. I could take one with fucking Tyrion.
Yeah.
Who's gonna babysit him?
Okay. I personally like the season to a certain degree. It's just there's so many like obscene stupidity things that really bug me, and it just shows that like there are certain spots in the writing room where they probably should have done their homework a little bit better when it came to their plot convenience. You know, like, you know, the Hound Grim, for example, using Oscar for as a meat shield. Okay, but you're still surrounded at like different angles, and then like later on when you go to hunt for Penny, you're surrounded by different angles again, and they actually utilize that advantage on that Hound Grim. So it's like it shows that there's no excuse for why he couldn't get jumped by Yang or Ren back then.
But the plot needed Oz to be kidnapped.
Well, but that's the thing, is that, oh, it's a plot-induced stupidity. No, that's just bad writing.
As the character's just standing there, and Oz, the thing grows wings.
Exactly, that's another thing too. They could have jumped its ass then and there as well. It's one of those things where, like, we're in a modern day setting now of like where characters who are like, I'm going to transform. Like, okay, well, you do that, I'm gonna beat your ass until you're black and blue. I'll make you transform that way. And so, like, you could have again jumped his ass again. Ugh. Then the idiocracy of all things with, well, if you're not gonna do what I say, Penny, or what says Ironwood, I'm gonna blow up Mantle. I'm like, why? Okay, that's a big threat to make Penny go to you, so that's just a threat, right? No, he's gonna make do on that as a promise, and he's gonna have the bomb armed, he's gonna have it delivered, and is possibly still gonna be set off if he doesn't have his demands met. But, like, they are technically met, and so there's just no reason for it. This is so unnecessary.
They stole one of her knives, and they put a virus in it, and like transferred to her like wirelessly or whatever. Couldn't they have used the knife to like track her somehow? Like, it wirelessly goes to her, so they could like track where it's being signals being sent.
Possibly, you could track her, but like, you know, overriding her to go to the vault, I think it works just as well, I guess.
And no one thought to check the Schnee house.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Weiss is in the kingdom. Where are they gonna go hide? I don't know. The Schnee house. Check there first. Oh, there's Petty. Grab her.
Yeah, you would think.
I guess he's too busy shooting people.
Yeah.
He shoots people now.
Yeah. I mean, that goes into his dedication of trying to do commit to his like sacrifices for the greater good, or like that he's willing to like kill the other council people
For the sheer crime of being annoying.
That, and to make sure he stays in power and everything.
But his whole video where he's like, all right, I'm gonna blow up Mantle if you don't come. He like filmed it like he's a super villain. I was like, you didn't have to. You kind of went out of the way to film it like you're a super villain, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of on you. Like, why are you in the shadows? Like, are you just embracing the bit now? Not bad now. We're gonna like kill half our kingdom.
Yeah, basically at that point.
Or they don't matter.
And on top of that, he was just being more of a dick on top of that, because there was cargo ships to bring the people of Mato to Atlas to save them from the Grim, to pretty much make sure, like, hey, like, if you still want to do your idea, cool, go ahead with it, just make sure you bring the people of Mato with you. And it was like, nah, I'm just gonna, like, strand you guys there, and then blow you up.
We could save you, but you're poor and icky. We're just gonna blow you up.
The poor. But yeah.
Kind of funny. It's like, all right, we gotta go in the crater right under Atlas to be safe. And it was like, and then Atlas like, oh no, Atlas is gonna crush everyone. Why did we come here?
I forgot. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Harriet. How she is like so dead set on just making sure everyone blows up. Like,
Follow orders because it's your job.
oh my god, that's why I hate about like this. And so like the stuff leading up to this, with our introduction to Crow and everything back in Volume 3, and how like he hates Atlas Elite so much. I was like, why do you hate Atlas so much? They don't seem that bad. And then like this whole 2 volumes, the last 2 volumes. No, I actually no 3 volumes, because 6 was just as fucking crazy with that old bat piloting a kaiju-sized mech to kill a bunch of teenagers.
Yeah.
So like y'all are
This
fucking
will
crazy.
teach you to stop drunk driving. Then they drive in a tank.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, these are just crazy assholes, and like they're too dedicated to their cause to like smell the fucking roses, dude. I mean, there's actually a thing in U.S. military where, if you don't follow your commanding officer's orders, that's considered AWOL, and you'll be like kicked out of the military, or dishonorably discharged is what it's called. But the thing about that is that there are policies within the military now where, like, if you're told to, like, hey, shoot that kid, what the kid do? I'm like, nah, he just looked at me, like, go shoot him. Like, if it's a valid reason like that, invalid reason like that, you have a valid reasoning to not follow through with those orders. I forgot what the actual wording or term is, but like there are implementations that allow you to not follow those ridiculous kinds of orders. Like, hey, Harriet, go drop this bomb off in Mantle, and she just follows it without question. I'm like, you're risking blowing people up for no reason, basically. Literally no reason, too, because
She might get a promotion afterwards.
sure, I guess.
Yo, you're the only one. You're the only one who listens to me. I can trust you. It's like I have trust issues. So thank you for blowing up Mantle. Here's a promotion. You can have Winter's job. Can I call you Winter? You're Winter now.
Winter Rabbit. What else to talk about now? To yap about, because everyone who didn't go through the portals are basically going to be, are basically all traveling to Vacuo now. Basically. Because so basically, all of our main characters now are basically in magical island, and Cinder and Salem seem to have half the relics now, and all of our other characters that matter are now in Vacuo, going to Shade Academy. So what will our heroes endure in Volume 9? Well, catch us next week, for RWBY Tuesdays, Part 9.
The finale. They will do the prologue.
Yeah, it's like the finale, quote unquote, or like the last aired season of RWBY. Then we got the kind of like a prequel back with volume. It's supposed to be Ice Queendom is set between volumes 1 and 2, I believe. So we got
Ice Kingdom or Queendom.
Ice Queendom.
It's a weird word. Is that a real word?
I don't know, but I'm not gonna argue it if it is not.
We're gonna call the show Queendom.
Queendom.
What does that mean?
We'll
She's
find.
like a dom and she's like a queen, so she's a queen dom.
It's funny you mention that too, especially since in that series, Weiss has a Atlas military redesign for some reason. I don't know like the full context and plot of Ice Queendom, but we'll get into it when we get into it. But yeah,
Can't believe the Weiss season is gonna be a spin-off.
that's actually sad too. Like everyone else has like their own character arcs and like more or less their own season, and then Weiss has to be like the spin-off, more or less their own season.
Time for you in the story, but here's a spin-off that's just for you that's not important.
Even though we like volumes 7, 8, and technically 9 are literally in your hometown. But yeah, let's go raiding now and see who we can raid into tonight.
What are we dropping?
That is a good fucking question. I have no idea. This
Iron
creative.
Mouse is live.
There's no fucking way that I'm gonna be able to go raid into Iron Mouse or Zentreya.
Zentreya's sleeping, so they won't even notice.
See, here's the thing is that I'm fairly certain they have their settings to like, oh, you can't raid, which is sad because Buff Pup doesn't. Which is one of the reasons why I do appreciate and enjoy Buff Pup all the more, is because they're chill like that. The thing is that Buff Pup isn't on.
They usually stream in the morning.
Yeah, or mornings or afternoons, I believe.
Yeah.
Because one of the times I raided into Buff Pup was an afternoon stream, I think. But anyways, I mean, I could raid into Zentreya. I do love their work. I do appreciate them as a content creator. I was gonna actually say Lumi too, but like she's sleeping too.
I don't think I've heard of that person.
Merryweather.
Heard of him? I don't know anything about him.
Or Merryweather Comics. I was gonna say, well, that's Mary's cousin, basically. I think they're cousins IRL. I can't remember.
I've heard of Merryweather, but I don't know anything about him.
He's a comic book artist, basically.
Okay. I do think I remember hearing one thing about them where they were saying like their advice for comics is that post your comics on pirate websites, so like people will think they're official, and then the like official like big budget comics, like, oh, it's on a pirate website, it must be a good comic, and then they'll like search for it legally.
I think that is actually accurate too, because I do see a lot of crazy fan looking comics that you would think look official in some regard, but they're just like, fanfics or stuff like that.
I don't know, like that is kind of clever advice. Like just you yourself post it on a pirate website, so that way, because people like find you.
Yeah.
And then if they like it, they'll look for it legally. And you could like do like a timed release where it's like older issues. So like, oh, I gotta pay for the new ones. I want to see what happens.
I kind of want to raid into Zentreya, but I'm kind of scared at the same time.
Let me see, what are they doing? I know
they're sleeping, but they're having like a rerun play in the background. So, I bet you $10 though. Like I just won't be able to raid into them.
Probably not.
But let's see if it. Oh shit. Well, we're raiding Zentreya.
It's kind of weird because they're like just sleeping. Like, oh, they should have turned it off so like they don't get like hate rated or anything.
I would think that too, but I'm fairly certain that they have mods, like proper mods. And actually, I don't even think they'll be able.
While they're sleeping, that's strange.
Yeah, I mean they're doing a subathon, so
I would like turn off like raids and like have it be like emotes only while you're asleep.
Yeah. But without further ado, if I don't see y'all again, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thank you, Sage, for the follow in the raid. Thank you, VT Dakota. We still gotta have you two fight to the death one of these days. And then Fluffercast, thank you for the follow as well. Thank you all for hopping by. If I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Tomorrow night I will be back after work, playing Final Fantasy VII. And I'm gonna try picking up where we left off because my stream my game crashed, and so yeah, I only played like about an hour of Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, without further ado, let's go.
Bye, everyone.
Alright, you have a good night, Dakota.
Night, Jambi. Oh, be sure to end your stream on YouTube. You have to end it separately.